talk to the attorneys at Nauman and Associates. They prepare wills and trusts for a flat fee, no surprises, no hourly rate. With decades of experience, they know the law and offer a free consultation. Contact Nauman and Associates in Elk Grove Village, nalawgroup.com. Call 847-593-8777.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
Salem Surround. Meet with a digital marketer today for ideas that will make your business stand out. Visit salemsurround.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
I just want to get this straight. So Donald Trump's approval rating is lower than it's ever been. There's never been a president with lower approval rating. However, if he opposes you as a senator or congressman, you lose your primary? Well, that doesn't seem to work. And apparently it's opposite week. Here's two words you never hear together. Shooting at a mosque. We will keep you updated as to if two old Jewish women walked in for directions and more. After News with Mike Scott.
Good afternoon in the QC Kinetics newsroom. I'm Mike Scott. A muggy afternoon with the threat of a thunderstorm and a high near 80. President Trump says the clock is ticking for Iran. In a sharply worded post on Truth Social, Trump added, time is of the essence. An investigation is underway after two military fighter jets collided during an air show in Idaho. The weekend air show was being held at the Mountain Home Air Force Base just outside of Boise. All four Navy pilots were able to eject safely. One person was killed, two others hospitalized after a house explosion in Wonder Lake Sunday night. Crews battled a massive fire at the vacant Balmoral racetrack in Crete Township Sunday morning. The full extent of the damage has not been determined. Union workers at BP's Whiting refinery are back at the bargaining table today amid a months-long labor dispute. White Sox celebrating a huge series win over the Cubs on the South Side. Southsiders in second place, 24-22, and visit the Mariners tonight, while the Cubs will host Milwaukee. The news, a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University and the Shaun Thompson Show. Go to 560theanswer.com/store. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Lauren Simonetti, and this is the Fox Business Report.
A choppy trading session with stocks ending mixed and off of session lows after late in the trading day. President Trump posted on his Truth Social account that he's holding off on a military strike on Iran, which was planned for Tuesday due to serious negotiations. Oil prices continue to rise, fueling inflation fears, with West Texas Intermediate crude hovering at around $106 a barrel, while Brent crude, the international benchmark, is back over $109. Tech and industrials were the worst performers, while energy and financials gained. Shares of the Magnificent Seven big cap tech stocks were mixed. The Dow winners, Visa, 3M, and Travelers. The Dow decliners, Caterpillar, Nvidia, and United Health Group. The Dow rising 160 points. The Nasdaq lower by 134. S&P 500 down 5. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Mike Gallagher shares a scary stat.
74% of Americans, including 91% of Republicans and 70% of independents, say the U.S. is winning against Iran. Do you want to know what percentage of Democrats side with Iran? 40%. Nearly half of Democrats are cheering for Iran. Let that sink in.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Progressive presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going. Today's hero, the true crime podcaster you listen to during a long haul. Yes, you may never look at a pair of pliers the same way again, or your spouse using pliers. But boy, you were entertained. Thanks, hero. Another thing that can keep truckers going, Progressive truck insurance with primary liability limits up to $2 million. Get a quote at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. $2 million limit is not available in all states.
Life is full of challenges, but you don't have to face them alone. At intouch.org, you'll find powerful sermons from Dr. Charles Stanley, daily devotionals, and resources designed to strengthen your faith and bring hope into your everyday life. Whether you're searching for encouragement, biblical wisdom, or practical guidance, intouch.org is here to help you grow closer to God. Discover truth that speaks to your heart. Visit intouch.org today. Thanks.
I'd like to tell you about a man named Phineas who as a child survived the Holocaust. Phineas survived because Christians hid him from the Nazis, risking everything to save his life. Today, Phineas is in his 80s. He can no longer stand on his own or even leave his home to receive medical care. And when sirens sound and missiles fall, he doesn't have the time or the strength to reach safety. But once again, Christians are helping to save his life. Through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, a mobile clinic brings doctors and medicine right to Phineas's doorstep, providing care that he otherwise would not receive, especially during a time of war. Phineas said, "Christians saved my life during the Holocaust, and now again, they are helping me." As Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day approaches, remember these precious children of God by lifting them up in prayer, asking for his protection, his comfort, and his peace. Stand with Israel in prayer by visiting supportifcj.org. That's supportifcj.org.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the outbound Edens, no reported delays. The Kennedy downtown out to O'Hare, 40 minutes. Tighten the express lanes, Kimball to Keeler. Outbound Eisenhower, 50 minutes. Post office to 390. Stevenson has an accident at Pulaski that is off to the side. 55 minutes to Saba Lakeshore Drive out to 355. 30 minutes on the outbound Ryan, slowing in the express, Garfield to Marquette. And the Ford inbound at Sibley, there's a crash on the right shoulder. Heavy conditions along DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way, Tri-State South. A stall before the Grant Avenue curve. And eastbound Reagan slowing down right near the Tri-State. This report is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device when you download the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy, warm and humid with a chance of a thunderstorm that could bring hail and damaging winds. The low temperature will be 70. On Tuesday, expect warm conditions in the morning with cloudy skies and breezy conditions later on. There will be a couple of showers and a chance of a thunderstorm with the potential for localized damaging wind gusts. The high temperature will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
This just in.
Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
The Vietnamese did not bomb the Navy ship in the Gulf of Tonkin. But these frickin' liars told you they did, and they got their way. And it's really what you face in these compartmentalized mafia fiefdoms. Whether it's Markham with their frickin' helicopter, which I'll tell you the truth, I love it! Prom seems to be a big deal in the ghetto, huh? Kicking in doors, landing helicopters. It's prom. Let's get a grip. But then again, who are we talking to? We're talking to morons. Morons who do not understand when they blame the president for gas prices. Hey, stupid. Illinois makes up 35% of the gas price. Illinois taxes. You see, maybe it's because you don't know. You never left the area. But all around the country, gas is cheaper. Electricity is cheaper. Water is cheaper. And when it comes to real estate taxes, well, It's a funny little thing. It's based on the price of your actual real estate. It's called ad valorem. And it used to be the covenant in a representative republic. But when you live in these Democrat mafia areas, you are the fracking slave, and you will pay. And it got me thinking, there's races all around the country right now, and most Illinoisans have no idea what decent people running things, what it's like. You have no fracking idea, do you? Here it is in Georgia.
3 things we did this year. 1, we suspended the gas tax for 60 days. That saves people 30 cents a gallon of gas.
Now, in Georgia, it's 30 cents. For you, it would save it about 78 cents to 92, depending on what fiefdom you purchase your gas. What county? Do you have the county with that Grady-looking from Sanford and Son, that freak with that ass face known as Grady Preckwinkle? Do you live in Crook County? Well, then you just shut up and you pay up. However, around the country, it's not like that at all.
Gasoline. Frankly, I think that we should look at how we're taxing gasoline and energy in general. We lowered the income tax for the 4th year in a row. The most money that we take from people as government is in their income taxes.
Tax the rich! No, he did that for everybody. See, and in these fiefdoms, we're the same idiots and simpletons who vote for politicians who land helicopters for their daughter. You just shut up and you keep voting Democrat. Okay, dummy?
And income tax, frankly, was a foreign concept of the Founding Fathers. It was a Woodrow Wilson legacy that was supposed to be temporary back in 1913 that required amending the United States Constitution with the 16th Amendment to even...
Oh, no, but that would make the citizen not want to be a slave and not want to steal from his neighbor. But see, this is what America is in the year 2026. You'll justify stealing from anybody who's got more than you. And I wonder, how come nobody wants to take the money from the government? I mean, after all, the government doesn't do jack gatsangul. They do nothing. In fact, in Illinois, 35% of the gas price is taxes. And yet the refinery, the guy who takes that oil, puts on the little warehouse and he hires all the people, the machines get going. He makes at his best 15%. And Illinois, crooked rat Illinois, makes twice as much as the oil refinery. 500 times what the transportation company that brings it from the refinery to the pump. So how come nobody's mad at the fat pig-led Illinois state government? I mean, after all, that's extortion. But you, as citizens, as Democrat scumbags, you're okay with extortion when it's the government doing it, even if it's to you and your kids. And that's how you know, Squirrel. Mind of a slave installed in Democrat fiefdom areas. And the whole reason this got started, they stumbled onto a scam many, many, many years ago. And since the scam was announced, now they've been stupid-ass, dead-ass wrong. But those people who've ever known a Democrat, right now, if you're in traffic and you look over, and there's that big porky Democrat with his finger in his nose, and he doesn't know you can turn right on red, you stupid son of a dog, unless there's a sign there, that's a Democrat. They'll buy or do anything somebody else tells them.
Concern about rising temperatures on planet Earth heated up a hearing here in Washington today. For years, scientists have theorized about...
Oh, that's a young Dan Rather, Squirrel. Not a gray hair on his head. Nope. No need for Cialis or Viagra. In fact, Dan Rather, that's 1982. 1982. Now, they cooked up this concoction of fraud, greenhouse gases. They cooked that up about 20 years earlier, but it wasn't really selling. So they waited till the 80s. And the reason is Ronald Reagan had won. And he had started to shrink government, started to shrink the power of government. So they did to Reagan exactly what they're trying to do to Trump.
The dangers of the so-called greenhouse effect, the warming of the Earth's atmosphere due to the burning of coal and oil. And in recent months, as David Culhane reports, research has uncovered facts to support that theory.
Now, each one of those facts are like the facts that told you COVID was from nature and that the vaccine would help you. Each one of those facts is bought by another scumbag Democrat with a couple of letters after his name, who wasted his youth sitting on his ass in a university, begging desperate women to have sex with them. They're called scientists for the government.
Many scientists claim that the temperature of the Earth's atmosphere has been rising over the past 100 years, that the great sheets of pack ice in Antarctica...
Now, wait a minute. 1982, rising. But 1979, just 3 years prior, Squirrel.
At least 8 times in the past million years, it has advanced and retreated with clockwork regularity. If we are unprepared for the next advance, the result could be hunger and death on a scale unprecedented in all of history. What scientists are telling us now is that the threat of an ice age is not as remote as they once thought. During the lifetime of our grandchildren, Arctic cold and perpetual snow could turn most of the inhabitable portions of our planet into a polar desert.
Now, there's a reason that I'm playing you this, not to prove over and over and over again. If a Democrat's lips are moving, it's a lie, lie, lie. Not that they're willing to say anything for money. For $50, you get him to eat a banana and drop off a fruit salad after a trip to the bathroom. Every one of these rat pigs, for sale whores, to do anything for money. The reason I'm playing this is why the government seized and usurped power it never should have had to make 3 times what refineries make, 50 times what transportation companies make, to make and control all flow by the citizen who is doing nothing but going to work. These are the excuses used to make more than anybody in the process of oil refining, gasoline, electricity, or anything else that comes into your house or your life. And the government does nothing but squanders the money, gives it to their sycophants, and they pay nothing. Not only don't they pay, when they misappropriate real good, like Medicare or Medicaid or Social Security, then they just take more.
Are melting at a much more rapid rate than previously. And finally, that the sea level has been rising with increasing swiftness over the past 40 years. If these scientists are correct, about 25% of Florida would be flooded, along with low-lying areas all over.
Now, if you were just smart enough in 1982 to not listen to this stupid, lying, Democrat voting scumbag and just buy anything on the coast of Florida, you know what you would do? You'd have more land than you did back then, and it would be worth 1,000 times what it was then. This is the cost of dealing with frauds and liars. And by the way, if you think they're exclusive to the Democrats, you'd be wrong. And that's what Cassidy, Senator Cassidy, represents. Senator Cassidy is a step and fetch. By the way, do you notice how close his eyeballs were together, Squirrel? That's what happens when your parents are drunks. Senator Cassidy is a step and fetch Republican who never put up a fight, ever, against the taxes, against the lies, against the fraud. Not only didn't he put up a fight, he endorsed the most obvious election theft in this country's history. The so-called presidential election where you got stuck with. He soiled himself against Secret Service. Where's the diaper bag, Joe Biden?
This was not the result that I necessarily wanted, but I feel great. When you participate in democracy, sometimes it doesn't turn out the way you want it to.
But wait a minute, Bill. It turned out every time you wanted it to before this. Before this, you kept giving that lip service. Urinating in people's ear, telling them it's raining. You were going to fight the government. You were going to fight for tax dollars. And what did you do? You got rich. You got rich, and you got successful at lying. That's all you had to do. Once a year, twice a year, you go back, you show your beady eyes in your district. Vote for me, and I'll set you free. The whole time undermining the principles of the Republic. And that's what I'm going to play about Mike Johnson, who I said the last time I talked about him really shocked me, proving you might be able to grow balls after 50. Well, guess what? They're only when he knows he's going to lose his job, because Mike Johnson just defended the insider trading that each and every honest American is nauseated by. Mike Johnson just protected it for not just rat Democrats who have perfected it. He made certain it'll be the way of so-called Congress, so-called the Senate, in perpetuity.
The salary of Congress has been frozen since 2009. When you adjust for inflation, a member of Congress today is making 31% less than they made in.
How is that different than every citizen, stupid? How about the jobs you cost in the private sector, stupid, as you let this green energy boondoggle grow to the idea that solar panels in New York for thousands of acres was normal, let alone the rest of the country? How much incompetence, and you're supposed to feel sorry for sloths that never work and hit on their staff, like Congressman Massey? How come that's not on all the Sunday shows? He just had a staffer, not the one he married after the wife died. By the way, I love that, what do they call it, a widower. When the widower, he had a complete makeover. You notice that? Hair all done nice. He got a new wardrobe and everything. And he married the staffer. And the other staffer said, well, he just molested me and offered me $60,000. Not one question. Hurry up. Somebody say Epstein.
That year. It goes down every year. And over time, if you stay on this trajectory, you're going to have less qualified people who are willing to make the extreme sacrifice to run for Congress. I mean, it's just people.
Oh, you mean less than you? Or you mean less than Cassidy? Or you mean less than Massey? Or you mean less than Jerry Nadler, who somehow walks like his ass is all chafed up and he can't figure out how to get A to B? Which one of these Geritol inside trading scumbags should we say, that's okay, crook? Use the policies you create to enrich hand-picked companies after you become partners with them. Is that what we should do, Mike? What are you tapping in at? About $270? $270 a year, and you don't even need that money because you're the speaker, right? And you get the shakedown of what? $50 million a year in briberies you call campaign contributions?
People just make a reasonable decision as a family on whether or not they can come and move to Washington, have a residence here, a residence at home, and do all the things that are required.
I don't care if you sleep in a glove box, scumbag. Listen to this. You're supposed to feel sorry for some joke or some fraud. Never paid for his own lunch or his own gas, just like the Illinois Democrats. And when you factor in the gas prices, know that Illinois spends, just Illinois, $20 billion a year in gas. That means the government, 35%, a little carry to 1, minus the 2, $6 billion a year in taxes for selling. Oh, not even. They don't even sell it. They let other people sell it. Who's the extortionist now? Certainly isn't a bookmaker. 312-642-5600.
Broadcasting from the petri dish of corruption known as the state of Illinois.
In the upper Midwest, the nation, and around the world.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Croscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Croscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Croscom.
Call Croscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Croscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Croscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Croscom.
Croscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Croscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it. Literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available. Financing is flexible. And at Air Right, installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you and Air Right will give you $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
Fight or flight? In Illinois, you've got both options. You can stay and fight, engage in local races, work to change things. Or you can vote with your feet. At leavingil.com, we help you build a smart exit plan so you know where to go, when to go, and how to do it right. Take our quick exit readiness assessment. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
AM 560. The Answer.
And the worst thing about a loser, a scumbag, a moron, a thief, all Democrats and 80% of Republicans, is they're under the impression their advice is valuable. Like this beady-eyed bastard, Senator Loser Cassidy.
But you don't pout. You don't whine. You don't claim the election was stolen. You don't find a reason why.
Now, here are the morons in the back. Screw you two scumbags. I don't give a rip if you ever vote the way I vote again in the history of the world. If you can't recognize the most obvious election theft in American history, it doesn't matter to me. All that matters to me is that the people who perpetrated the most obvious election theft in American history all go to frickin' jail.
Well, there's a ton of evidence that the election was rigged. That's not something the DOJ needs to tell you about. There's been evidence about that for many, many years.
Since the night they stole the election, since the days after, right up until today, they stole the election.
Can tell you is that we have multiple investigations going on in Arizona, in Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia, and that's exactly what we're looking at. By the way, this is very difficult because they're very good. They're very good at hiding up misconduct and hiding what they're doing, and so that's why we're very.
So start with Reid Hoffman, the pedophile fat bastard who looks like Jell-O in a baggie. Big beanbag Reid Hoffman, who financed all the scum lawyers with the similar physiques like that Ellis fat slob. Go after all the cohorts who put together and worked in conjunction with the CIA, American CIA, to hire and lie about the Venezuelan companies that perpetrated the crimes, along with the other scum Democrats.
Very focused on finding out whether the right people voted, whether people who were supposed to vote voted, whether there was one vote cast per voter, and that's what we're doing in multiple states. And
what that is, Squirrel, is it's a nod to the scumbags who rigged the software, because they rigged the software in a very smart way. Just a vote for that soiled pants diaper-wearing thief, Joe Biden, it would equal 1.3, and a vote for Trump would equal 0.7. Making it a 2-to-1 to even have to even remotely have a chance. And that was just the software. Then you look at the sloth-eating donut connoisseurs like those two fat slobs in Georgia who are driving around in Rudy Giuliani's Mercedes and stanking it up. Well, you times them by 50,000, and we didn't even reach California.
And I expect, and again, people, you'll say to me, how long has it taken? Why is it taking so long? And the reality, the answer to that is because it takes a lot of work to uncover what happened in 2020. It takes a lot of old, good old-fashioned law enforcement police work, which is what we're doing. And we have great prosecutors working on it as well. And I expect that,
Now, are you sure you got rid of all of the Comey prosecutors? Because the way that this happened is the head of the FBI, the head of the CIA, Barack Hussein side saddle. I say that, Squirrel, because, back in the old days, the people who like to sleep with men, they rode the horse side saddle. Side saddle Barack Obama worked in conjunction to steal the election. That's why this Comey interview on Sunday, it's more important than you think.
Not looked at from the top level. The people running it, if you're bragging about forcing out career prosecutors and agents because the president doesn't like a lawful investigation they conducted, something is seriously broken at the top.
Are you just talking to the people that don't know your dimwit daughter was one of these prosecutors you speak of?
My daughter was a superstar prosecutor in the Southern District of New York and was fired only because she has my last name.
She was fired because she's probably a traitor, just like her father. She was fired because you got her the job she would have never gotten on her own. And she was fired because she politically persecuted her opponents, just like her father protected them. Scum. Ugh. JJ, Kingston.
Well, hello, Mr. Thompson.
Hi, JJ.
Shaun, we love you. You are just an incredible man. Your energy is just 100% spot on.
JJ, I'm just trying to pick a fight, baby.
Tomorrow, I'm going to be at Gobert's.
Oh, good. Well, listen, you make sure you come up because I'm going to be doing the show early. Get there early.
Shaun, I want to give you a half a dozen declarations to hand out if you want.
Oh, well,
you are the man with the declaration and a cigar in your hand. And if you want, I will give those to you if you want.
Well, I'm more interested in shaking your hand. That's very magnanimous. I look forward to tomorrow. Thank you, brother.
And Shaun, the signature print with all the signatures that you signed years ago, there's 13 more new ones on there. I got to show you.
All right, fantastic.
I got to show you.
Well, thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I appreciate it. Philip, Missouri.
Hello, Shaun. Love your show.
Thank you, Philip.
I've been waiting to tell you about this for several weeks, but in Kansas City, Missouri, we have a mayor. He's a Democrat, Mayor Quentin Lucas. Now, we're going to have the World Soccer Games here in Kansas City.
Yeah.
He's been fighting the bar owners to stay open 24 hours to facilitate the soccer games, and finally, with a big fight, he approved it. So the bars will stay open and the restaurants, but there's a clause that he put in there that any store, gas station store, or any convenience store that sells the little bottles of alcohol, and this is an oxymoron, any little bottles of alcohol, they cannot sell during the games because he wants to reduce crime. That's an oxymoron.
Yes, it is. I mean, these are the dumbest people among us, Philip. They really are. They are the dumbest.
I had to tell you about it because I know it's not Chicago, but these Democrat mayors, this is how they operate.
Hey, now, Philip, listen to this. We got to bust out Thief Town. I mean, you believe me when I tell you, you don't want to go near it. And that nobody makes any money. The honest people are starving. The services suck. And the bimbo who works for the village paid with the credit card from the village to fly a helicopter so that her daughter could take a picture and fly with a helicopter for prom. I mean, so remember, no matter how bad it is in Missouri, it ain't Illinois, Stan. Thank you, babe. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Did you know most remodeling mishaps start before construction even begins? Here's something else you should know. At Forever Remodeling, we do things differently. Every kitchen, bathroom, and basement project starts with smart planning, detailed 3D designs, a clear scope of work, and accurate pricing, all sorted out before you get started. No surprises, no stress, just beautiful results. Done right the first time. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, EVER, remodeling.com. And schedule your free in-home consultation today.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft, but that's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes in your financial accounts, they'll alert you right away. All through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 30% off your first year with the promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. 800-LifeLock. 1-800-LifeLock or LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK at LifeLock.com.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds, and you can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
Picture warm Gulf breezes, turquoise waters, white sand beaches. Now, add evenings of conversation with Salem Media's Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, and Jennifer Horn. This November, sail from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Mexico on a 7-day journey built for those who love this country. Book your cabin today when you text the word cruise to 94878. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary the right way on the Gulf of America Cruise. Book your cabin now. Text the word cruise to 94878.
So Donnelly's Auctions, he's having a 2-part spring classic sale. So we just already had 1. 2 is happening at the end of the month, I believe on the 29th and 30th. If he opens the doors, take the kids there. It is a museum. The inventory is unbelievable. Huge. Everything. Cars, boats, motorcycles. Advertising. You could show the kids when there was American companies in everything. Anything that makes you feel proud. Old cars, old motorcycles, all their racing cars, high-end cars, specialty cars, and guns. Never forget, Randy Donnelly and the people at Donnelly Auctions are a state and federal licensed arms dealer. From guns to old uniforms of the military, anything to do with veterans of vintage, it's there at Donnelly Auctions. And you want to know something? Randy Donnelly is going to have a table at Cigar Night. So Cigar Night, we're not selling online anymore, but if you show up at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove, you can meet Randy Donnelly at the Donnelly Auctions table. We'll be there. It's going to be a get-together. Come there, ask questions. I actually had to take a picture. Have a relative want to know what a plate is worth, hand-painted plate from Italy. We're going to ask Randy. You could ask him anything. Take advantage of his 50 years of experience. 50 years of experience. If you can't make it, simply call 815-923-7000. 815-923-7000. If you need to sell something, he'll tell you exactly what it's worth. If you want to become a collector, he'll tell you exactly what to pay. All things at DonnellyAuctions.com. When we get back, we're going to go to John. We got Terry. We got Phyllis. We got another lady coming in. All right, it's Monday. Not Tuesday will be ladies' night. But if you're a lady, we'll take you first. 312-642-5600 after news.
Thanks, Shaun. Good afternoon. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, I'm Mike Scott. A muggy afternoon with a threat of a local thunderstorm and a high near 80. President Trump says the clock is ticking for Iran. In a sharply worded post on Truth Social, Trump added time is of the essence. One person was killed, 2 others hospitalized after a house explosion in Wonder Lake Sunday night. 2 neighboring homes were also damaged. Union workers at BP's Whiting refinery are set to return to the bargaining table today amid a months-long labor dispute. Around 800 workers have been locked out of that facility since March. On Sunday, roughly 1,000 men came together to celebrate progress at the Project Hood Center nearing completion, something Pastor Corey Brooks with New Beginnings Church has been trying to build for 15 years. Southsiders take on the Mariners tonight. Cubs host Milwaukee. The News is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows, limited commercials. Subscribe free at 560theanswer.com/podcast. Your next news update comes your way at 5. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. Now in the AM 560 Traffic Center, here is Jill Urchak.
Taking a look at the Kennedy, outbound side downtown out to O'Hare. That is 45 minutes while the outbound Edens remains clear. There are delays in the express lanes, California to Keeler. On the outbound Eisenhower, 1 hour, post office to 390. Stevenson jammed at 50 minutes due Saba Lakeshore Drive to 355 with an accident at Pulaski off to the left shoulder. Outbound side of the Ryan, 30 minutes. Stop and go in the Express, 51st to Marquette. I-57 and the Skyway, both of those are clear. On the Bishop Ford, we're seeing delays up on 115th to Beaubien Woods. There's road work taking place there. Heavy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive in the Tri-State either way, stall southbound before the Grand Avenue curve. And delays building southbound 355 as well. Eastbound 80, crash at Chicago on the exit. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy, warm, and humid with a chance of a thunderstorm that could bring hail and damaging winds. The low temperature will be 70. On Tuesday, expect warm conditions in the morning with cloudy skies and breezy conditions later on. There will be a few showers and a chance of a thunderstorm, which could bring localized damaging wind gusts. The high temperature will reach 79. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling.
Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family owned with integrity since 1981.
Twitchy.com brings you the latest in social news, highlighting and reacting to important conversations from America's most prominent journalists, politicians, and celebrities. Twitchy's kinetic group of editors deliver fast and amusing content around the clock to tell you who said what in global and political news, sports, entertainment, and media. If it's news, they're on it. If it should be news, they're ahead of it. Stay connected to the newswire of the 21st century with Twitchy.com. Twitchy.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Estate jewelry, vintage watches, sell worldwide for true auction value. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
They thought they were going to get away with it. Hey, morons! Did you think you were going to get away with it? I mean, how long did you think you could sit on the most obvious election theft in world history?
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
And then he went back to Jill with his dirty diaper and he said, did I say that? Or did I just think it? No, you said it's stupid and you got it out there. And by the way, this is something we all knew.
Respectfully, Representative Smith, the fact that there are, in fact, some errors that happen in the system. Every system has errors, and it doesn't mean that there are not safeguards in place. There are safeguards, and you as a clerk, having done many registrations previously, understand that there's a process that you go through. And you can ask NASA. There's no process that doesn't have some error inherent in the system.
Okay. Thank you. And you're very right. When I was a clerk, there were lots of errors in the system. That's largely why I am here. I took off a dead voter in my township. And guess what? That dead voter was put back on. Not by me. That was done by the Secretary of State's office. So we need to.
So you know what that means, Squirrel? All you need for a fix is a Democrat. A Democrat. And the nice thing is, don't worry, Squirrel. If they get caught, they'll just say something opposite. Nobody expects them to say the same thing, especially if there's time involved.
Gerrymandering means citizens' voices are being diminished. By voting yes, you have a chance to do something important. Not just for the Commonwealth, but for our entire country. Even a former president, who are joining together to end gerrymandering and ensure that our democracy is living up to its founding promise. By voting yes, you can push back against the Republican...
See, Squirrel, what we did there? Every 10 seconds, we get him to say something else. Now tell the biggest lie you ever said. Not that you're heterosexual, but that Michelle is pretty. John Palatine.
Hey, Shaun. Just to start out, I wonder how many people. Why doesn't the media repeat that scumbag Comey's daughter was a lead prosecutor on the Epstein case? But anyway, that's not why I called.
All right, go ahead.
No, what makes me absolutely sick now is this nonsense by Todd Blanche that they're examining the evidence and it's taking a long time because they got to look it all up. Here's what makes me sick. They have all the evidence, and what they did with all the people that have all the evidence is they locked them up. This is all window dressing and nonsense.
John, I'm going to tell you, you got to be
football again.
Not really, and I'm going to tell you why. The evidence that they have is the evidence that proves beyond the shadow of a doubt. Now, you got to remember, it wasn't long ago the FBI just seized all the paperwork from Fulton County. Fulton County came out and admitted they lied about 320,000 votes. That's exactly what the mayor from New York, Giuliani, said. They validated everything he said. These fiefdoms, John, we live in one, babe. We live in one. Look at how they protect these thieves. Whether it's the mayor of Dalton, the mayor of Harvey, the mayor of Cal City, this idiot in Markham, the mayor of Maywood with the DUI 3 years ago. Everybody remember when he passed out on the Eisenhower? And all the rest of it. They protect themselves. So you have to go in with a federal case. You have to go in with the FBI because the system itself is corrupt. The judges, the lawyers. If you're in a Democrat area, John, they circle the wagons, babe. So there are arrests made. And this thing in Arizona, you watch. Illinois will be the last to fall because it's the stronghold. It's the nucleus of communism and Marxism and the mafia in control. But you watch Arizona. People are going to jail. Yeah. You watch Georgia. They're going to jail, brother.
I hope so. But like during this next election cycle, when Yogi Bear's campaign with Shifty Aaron. They should broadcast the tapes where Pritzker's trying to buy the Senate seat from Bathhouse Barry.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, he can't raise any money. I'm surprised U-Haul doesn't stroke him a check. Thanks, John. Appreciate the call. George in Naperville.
Yeah, Shaun, it's too bad the helicopter ride at Kittyland is no more. The girl could have got it out of her system at a younger age. And
did you see that story, George?
I saw it. It's ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Not even years ago would a Democrat moron have the balls to pay for a helicopter for the kids' prom with the Village credit card. I mean, this is what do you got? You got a 45 IQ? What are you, one of the Marx Brothers? How frickin' stupid is this broad?
City leaders insisting that the park director crossed the line for a photo op for her daughter. A photo shoot, at least the deposit we now know was charged with a credit card that taxpayers pay for.
At least Cal City Mayor went to Juicy Crab, or was that the Dalton Mayor, or was it the Harvey Mayor? Everywhere these morons are. And by the way, Squirrel, I'm not sure, but I don't think either one of those people I've mentioned, all of them combined, I don't think any of them are a blue-eyed white devil. Does that make it okay?
Less than a week after this helicopter landed at the Markham Park, catching many by surprise, this prom stunt for the park director's daughter is now political. Here's what Quintilla Brown told officers.
What was the name there? Quintilla. You know, Squirrel, I was right down to that. Many, many years ago, a couple decades ago, we were going to go after starlets, then women of history, and then Quintilla. We were this close, Quintilla. Apparently her parents were comedians, too.
I got it okay through the park, but I didn't just, what's going on with the city.
Yet city leaders never authorized the landing in the public park where children were playing.
First of all, the city leaders are at Bally's in the city, drunk as skunks, paying for their lunch with the Village credit card.
Say you can land a helicopter.
I have a landing permission. I can bring it over.
The pilot had a notice signed by the park director herself. The company later handed over this invoice to the city attorney. The receipt raises much bigger questions. The bill was for a minimum of $800 for an hour. At the bottom, there's a credit card number linked to Brown. She named Markham Parks as the company and even used the address of the field house.
Yeah, it's all right. Get in front of a Democrat judge. Not guilty. Scum versus scum. Eric Marengo.
Hey, Shaun, I didn't get tickets for the Cigar Fest because I got to work.
You want me to get you a helicopter? Let me call this pig up in Markham. We'll see if we got any time left on the card. Are you going to leave me hanging? That's it?
No, I was going to say,
go ahead.
If you need help shaking hands, I'm the best at shaking hands. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, listen. You come along. Everybody's got a skill. We'll put a sticker on you, and everybody wants to shake my hand. They get Eric from Marengo. I'm in. We'll make it work.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. By the way, tickets are available at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove. Terry, Shirekistan.
Hey, Shaun, you got this professor that comes on once a week from Arkansas. And could you ask him, does the Fifth Amendment, you don't tell on yourself, apply to the government? Because when Daley first introduced the parking meter deal on a Friday, it was voted on a Tuesday, Daley said it was a windfall or rainy day thing for the city.
Yeah.
And we're stuck for 75 years. And then when Obama and Biden and Comey and Brennan took the Steele dossier, deliberately lied about that and caused the Mueller. And that's why I was wondering if the Fifth Amendment applies to the government.
No.
Don't tell on yourself. And the other thing is your math is impressive. I go 1, 2, 3, few, and many.
Hey, Terry, do you remember how many of his moron relatives, the Daley relatives, nephews and cousins and simpletons, worked as consultants to put that deal together? You remember how they all got their beak wet?
That's how Vanico or something.
They fracking love it. You can't steal enough. Is there another moron that was at Thanksgiving we could give a commission check to? Fracking Democrats. Steal! And then we've got in Minnesota the lawyer pretending that the Somalian thief should keep the money. Oh, we'll cover that, and I'll take your calls when we get back.
Marxists, socialists, and communists are not welcome on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
You smell that? Spring. Hibernation's over. It's time to run it. Run it until the grass becomes long and the hedges duck and cover. Then, run it again. Stihl, get up to $50 off select AK battery tool sets. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Now that spring is here, it's time for some spring home maintenance.
That's cold!
Hot water issues? Call CenterGuard Plumbing. Right now, get a new 40-gallon atmospheric vent water heater installed for just $1,295 standard installation, or a 50-gallon for $1,395 standard installation with free haul away of your old tank. A proud sponsor of AM 560, you'll save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on tankless and atmospheric vent water heaters with CenterGuard Plumbing. Plus, get 10% off any licensed plumbing contractor competitor's price. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive spring special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit centerguardplumbing.com.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing, presented by Signature Bank. AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responder and military heroes, to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Monday, June 15th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing campaign, which includes 25 one-minute commercials to air on AM 560 Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and a free digital marketing analysis. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Edward Jones financial advisor Nolan Webster and by real estate broker Ed Dream at leavingil.com.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneinc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneinc.com. Tech made personal locally.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you, would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
AM 560.
The Answer.
By the way, you're going to think I'm playing you an update on an old scandal. You would be wrong. This is a new scandal. Same Somalian ret pirates. Yabba dabba do, and I don't know what the hell they're doing. Same people, different level of scam.
This is a SNAP fraud scheme investigators are describing as a high degree of sophistication. A man in Minneapolis is accused of stealing more than $1 million in SNAP benefits. In court documents we were able to get a hold of, it described what investigators are saying happened. It says a man named Abdid Wahid Mohammed used several other people's EBT cards to buy things from stores like Walmart, Sam's Club, and Costco. Among some of the things that Mohammed is accused of buying, it includes energy drinks, candy bars, and pop. Investigators say Mohammed would then sell all of those things at his own grocery store called Minnesota Food Grocery. Now, court documents say law enforcement actually watched Mohammed make these purchases at the store And then he went straight to his own store where he sold these items.
This is after the billions and billions. Well, you got to give it to them. They got themselves a business plan. Tom, Blue Island.
Hey, Shaun, dittos.
Oh, thank you, babe.
So, Shaun, it doesn't seem like Rudy Giuliani is long for this earth.
None of us are, baby. None of us are.
California disbarred John Eastman. They ruined Michael Flynn's career. And it appears to me that our side doesn't come to the defense of those on our side that fight and are attacked by the left when it's obvious. And I'm not seeing why. I'm not saying to give up the fight. I'm just saying,
it's an interesting point.
Why people with money and means would not get involved because they'll have their life ruined, and it seems like our side won't do much to help them.
What does that mean, come together? It would give the assumption that the other side comes together. The other side uses each other as stalking horses, as straw men, as excuses, as useful idiots, but nobody comes together. Human beings don't come together. You think raising money in the name of degenerates is coming together? And in case you're not watching, they steal the money in the name of degenerates. They steal the money over and over and over again. And the higher up they are in politics, the easier it is to steal.
News here at 6. Federal agents charged a second Georgia lawmaker with defrauding taxpayers through pandemic unemployment insurance.
Another Fulton County. Fulton County makes Crook County look warmer. That's it. Same degenerate Democrat scum stealing from the people. Verlon, Michigan.
Okay, I want to get your opinion on something. Zeke Emanuel was on the Morning Answer, I believe it was Friday, and he said, okay, and I quote, Obamacare saved this nation a fortune, saved this nation $4 trillion. I want to get your opinion on that.
Well, he's a hack and a quack and a liar. Obamacare raised the premiums 400%. Obamacare and the explosion of debt ties directly back to that simpleton fraud liar, Barack Obama. So you think, first of all, I'm going to tell you something. And you think I don't go to a Democrat. If you're stupid enough or of low character enough to be a Democrat, whatever you say your profession is doesn't matter to me. And by the way, what is Zeke Emanuel's big success? I'm curious. I'm serious. What is his big success? Do you know?
I don't know. All I know is
he's got one of those virtue shields, right? He's a doctor. Ooh, a doctor.
Right.
So was Mengele. Who gives a rip? Who gives a rip? Are you dumb enough to vote for Barack Obama? And then is your character so low that you would lie about a policy that destroyed American healthcare as we knew it? Not only destroyed it, but drove up the cost 400%. I don't give a rip what any Democrat, especially somebody in the upper echelon of the Obama administration, would say about anything, because he'll say anything. He knew what Jonathan Gruber wrote in Obamacare. He knew it was a tax law. It was a law that would chase out competition. He knew it would solidify and consolidate government power and fraud, because he is fraud. So calling himself a doctor, passing a test to become a doctor, that doesn't mean jack to me. I think he's a scumbag.
He said it. He also said it flattened the healthcare costs when it comes to Medicaid for the whole country.
Did he also say that COVID came from a bat? Did he also say the vaccine was safe? Did he also say that Anthony Fauci handled HIV and the medicine that he protected from people who needed it? Did he say he did a good job? What else did this stupid son of a dog, who, by the way, is the ugliest son of a pig since Podesta reared his ugly head? I can't tell the difference between him and John Podesta. Who gives a rip what he says? He's a freaking Obama cabinet member. Take a look at these scumbags. You want to talk about his friends who took off their shirts and got into steam with him and all bought colleges for profit after he crashed the price of them? You want to talk about the most corrupt president this country's ever had. It's a race, but Obama wins it by a nose. And that's the fact. Look at the one president who changed the trajectory of debt and policy to American life. It traces right back to him, and then before him, Bush. But he's the one that exploded the debt. There has never been a more obvious failure, fraud, and thief than Barack Obama. Never. He's out there, baby. He makes LBJ look believable.
Yeah, and the Supreme Court backed them up. That's crazy.
Well, why not? It's one cabal of corruption. The Supreme Court didn't back him up. John Roberts rewrote the argument to pass it as a tax versus how it was sold. And he is directly an asset and a pillar that drove up your insurance premium 400% and destroyed American healthcare. But without Obamacare passing, they could have never sold that fraud of COVID or the vaccine. So see, it's not an incident. It's not just one, it's a one-off. It's all part of a greater scheme, which explains who is Barack Obama. You know how many Chicagoans think he's from Chicago? He couldn't find Chicago on a map before somebody told him where he was going to go live. He's from Indonesia. Maybe that's where the women are pretty, when they look like Patrick Ewing. We'll be back.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Shaun Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
If you're listening right now, chances are you're either worried about a parent living alone or you are that parent and you know your family worries about you. Either way, there's a great company that finally got senior safety right, Connected Caregiver. Connected Caregiver is everything you already know about senior alert devices, fall detection, emergency button GPS, but reimagined for today. A small wearable device alerts your family the moment something happens. Discrete in-home sensors, no cameras, no microphones, cover you even when you're not wearing it. And a smart pill box tells your family if medications were taken, all right on their phones. For the kids, you go from hoping everything is fine to actually knowing it is, even when you're across the country. For mom and dad, Connected Caregiver keeps you in your home on your terms. That's not losing independence, that's keeping it. Call 888-870-8020. A Connected Caregiver specialist who genuinely cares will help find the best solution for you. They'll even help check if you qualify for a free device. Call 888-870-8020, 888-870-8020.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Dr. Bowden completed her residency at Sanford University. She's board certified, how the hell do you say this, squirrel? Otolaryngology. It hurts when I do this, doc. You need an otolaryngology doctor. Excellent. And sleep medicine. The new book, Dangerous Misinformation. The virus, the treatments, and the lies. It comes out tomorrow. We'll discuss that with Dr. Mary Talley Bowden after Mike Scott.
Thank you, Shaun. Good afternoon in the QC Kinetics newsroom. I'm Mike Scott. A threat of thunderstorms this late afternoon with a high near 80. 4 Navy pilots are safe after 2 military fighter jets collided during an air show in Idaho. The weekend air show was being held near the Mountain Home Air Force Base outside of Boise. A new class action lawsuit has been filed against Amazon, accusing the company of failing to refund tariff-related costs. Consumers allege in a proposed lawsuit that the tech company collected hundreds of millions of dollars in unlawful tariff costs by raising prices on imported goods. One person was killed, 2 others hospitalized after a house explosion in Wonder Lake Sunday night. Authorities say firefighters were called out around 7:50 for the reported house explosion. Charges are pending after 2 women were shot on Chicago's west side. Police say the 2 victims were having an argument when a man approached. The man then fired shots, hitting both women. They are hospitalized in good condition. White Sox celebrating a series win over the Cubs by visiting the Mariners tonight while the Cubs host Milwaukee. The news a service of Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars, coins, silver dollars, rare date proof and min sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
A choppy trading session with stocks ending mixed as inflation concerns linger, interest rate fears return, and as investors await a busy week for earnings. Stocks gaining ground after President Trump said in a Truth Social post that he's holding off on an attack on Iran that was planned for Tuesday. Oil prices are spiking again, with West Texas Intermediate crude settling up over $108 a barrel. Tech stocks were the worst performers, with semiconductors leading the declines. The Magnificent 7 big cap tech stocks were mostly lower. Shares of Nvidia fell 1% ahead of its earnings release on Wednesday afternoon. An Alphabet stock was flat, but the Google parent is closing in near a $5 trillion market capitalization. The Dow up 160 points, the Nasdaq lower by 134, S&P 500 down 5. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Progressive presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going. Today's hero, the true crime podcaster you listen to during a long haul. Yes, you may never look at a pair of pliers the same way again, or your spouse using pliers. But boy, you were entertained. Thanks, hero. Another thing that can keep truckers going, Progressive Truck Insurance with primary liability limits up to $2 million. Get a quote at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. $2 million limit is not available in all states.
Life is full of challenges, but you don't have to face them alone. At InTouch.org, you'll find powerful sermons from Dr. Charles Stanley, daily devotionals, and resources designed to strengthen your faith and bring hope into everyday life. Whether you're searching for encouragement, biblical wisdom, or practical guidance, InTouch.org is here to help you grow closer to God. Discover truth that speaks to your heart. Visit InTouch.org today. That's InTouch.org. Thanks.
If you're considering investing in precious metals, don't wait. The Iranian conflict seems to be nearing an end, and the time is now to position your retirement for massive growth. Advantage Gold is America's #1 precious metals company, and they want to send you a free gold and silver investor guide valued at $49 when you call 800-900-8000. Plus, you'll get a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Our specialists can help you open a new account or transfer funds from an existing IRA, tax and penalty-free, and show you how a gold-backed IRA can put real, tangible assets into your retirement portfolio. Markets react to news cycles, but gold has maintained its value through inflation, volatility, and economic uncertainty. When the purchasing power of the dollar declines, that's when investors turn to gold and silver. Make your move now. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Results may vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer. From the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Southbound due Saba Lakeshore Drive, there is an accident at 18th Street. It is busy, however, in both directions, while the outbound Edens remains clear. Kennedy 45 minutes, Chamberlain Interchange to O'Hare. On the Eisenhower 55, Post Office to 390. Stevenson, that is a 50-minute trip out to 355, crash at Pulaski on the side, but there is one on the northbound exit ramp to the Tri-State. Outbound Ann Ryan, a half hour to get to 95th while slowing in the Express, 51st to Marquette. As you head over to the Tri-State, that's busy both directions. Jane Addams West showing delays, and southbound 355 also heavy. This report is a service of Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars and coins. silver dollars, rare date proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy, warm and humid with a chance of a thunderstorm that could bring hail and damaging winds. The low temperature will be 70. On Tuesday, expect warm conditions in the morning with cloudy skies and breezy conditions later on. There will be a couple of showers and a chance of a thunderstorm with the potential for localized damaging wind gusts. The high temperature will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all guns. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, I'll read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
Now, I believe the future will refer to 2020 to 2025 as American Dark Ages, but sometimes the blessing is in the curse. As long as you understand what the problems were and you stand fast against them. Some people stood fast against them while they were happening. My next guest is one of those people. And I'm very impressed with her academically. I mean, after all, how could you not be? Residency at Stanford University, board certified in both otolaryngology, doc, it hurts when I do this, and sleep medicine. She's a senior fellow with the MIA, author, but the most important part, mother of 4. Dr. Bowden, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Well, the book is very interesting. The book is titled Dangerous Misinformation, the Virus, the Treatments, and the Lies. So is it about 1,100 or 1,400 pages?
Well, it could be, yes, it could be War and Peace at this point, but I did try to condense it to make it easy for the reader.
Now, it's really something to have lived through it. I lived through it not from the perspective of somebody in medicine, but somebody from the perspective of an entrepreneur, business, but most of all, in love with the principles that I am no one's slave, that I'm an American. And the government represents me. It doesn't rule over me. But boy, oh boy, they sure tried, didn't they?
They did. And I'm always impressed with people like you. And it gives me hope because the next time they pull this, I will be much better equipped to see what's going on. But I went into it very blindly.
Well, it's interesting because you live your life and you could see you're somebody who did the right thing, right? And people who do the right thing, my mother used to do this, and most of my family, they think everybody has those intentions. They do. And they're polite. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to say, well, it's hard to be confrontational. But see, I like getting punched in the face. In fact, it makes me homesick. It reminds me of my childhood. I miss my dad and everybody who used to punch me in the face. So I love to get punched in the face. And when all this happened, I said, are you out of your fracking mind? From day one, the frog that came out of the bat cave that kissed the dolphin and swam across and got me sick, it reeked of a bioweapon to me. But now it's interesting. Because in the midst of it, you stood against so much of what medicine was telling us to do, didn't you?
Yeah, but I was seeing it all firsthand, so I can understand why doctors who are not immersed in it were going along. Because I think if I hadn't seen it all, then I might have been one of them. But I treated over 6,000 COVID patients. I've never treated that many patients with one disease in my career, and I doubt I ever will, but you quickly become an expert when that's all you see, and you learn what works and what doesn't. And it became very obvious very quickly that the shots weren't working, and early treatments such as ivermectin were working.
Well, what else is funny? I've become friendly with Dr. Malone. And Dr. Malone, who owns one of the patents on the mRNA, he was one of the first to say, wait, whoa. I don't like any of this. He had a friend of his wife that had an immediate side effect. But, I'm wondering when you said this has to come to an end. It felt like that in the beginning for me, in the way in which it was rushed, knowing they thought Viagra was a heart medicine that they tested for 10 years, and then they found out it has better way to make money. So there's a lot of testing that normally goes into our system that was circumvented. And then the idea that the government would dictate we need to change the definition of a side effect, that had to blow your mind, didn't it?
Yeah, I didn't get the shot, but I did consider getting it. I almost got it. I at that point, I didn't think it would work, but I didn't think it would hurt me. I still had that trust in the system. And but I was skeptical. I looked at the study that they did when they were testing it. I didn't like the way it was conducted. But I didn't have like a knee-jerk, no, I'm not going to get it. But things came to head when I started speaking out about mandates. So it wasn't even really talking badly about the shot. I just said the mandates are wrong, and that's when they went after me so hard.
So what do you think with your experience in the medical arena, as every day that goes on validates the accusations made by people like Senator Ron Johnson? Let's just pick him because he's a wonderful guy who stood in the pocket the way you did and said, I'm not going to go along with it. And you see the people who are already coming out, both doctors and healthcare professionals who stood against it, and they're talking about the devastation around the world. I said early on when it was going on, I believed that it would come out that the vaccine harmed more people than COVID. Do you think that that's still fair to say as you have researched this book and all of the information that you've lived through? I believe that the vaccine appears to be far more dangerous than COVID.
I would completely agree. I do see some patients with lingering effects from the infection, but I see far more people that have had severe issues from these shots years later, and their conditions are very difficult to treat. It's a lot of trial and error, and most of the time it's error. So I've never seen anything like it in 20 years of practicing medicine. Any other product would have been pulled off the market a long time ago based on what we're seeing.
Well, I think what is most amazing is the insistence by government that this was going to be great. This is going to be great. And you had nothing to back it up. You knew, as medical professionals knew, this was a new delivery system, this mRNA. They had no real data. And somehow you kept over 6,000 COVID patients out of hospitals this is during the pandemic, without the vaccine. And people like you were not only put on the sidelines, in some cases you were assaulted and attacked to a certain extent from these professional organizations, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. I was turned to the medical board, and I'm still fighting them. And, yeah, they tried to destroy my reputation. Houston Methodist Hospital, they were the first hospital in the country to mandate the shots. They paved the way for the rest of the country, and they did it 5 months before Biden. So this was April 1st, 2021. And when I started speaking out against the mandates, they suspended my privileges, but they did it very publicly with the intention to just destroy my reputation. I found out through a reporter at the Houston Chronicle. That's how I found out my privileges were suspended. So, it was. Unfortunately, the fight is still ongoing. But.
Well, you know what's interesting? I can remember Milton Friedman, being from the Chicagoland area. We were lucky enough to be introduced to him as kids. And he used to have on this show, Free to Choose, every weekend, and he would argue with communists and certain people. And every once in a while, he would be paid to go speak somewhere. And he went to this heart association. This is many, many, many years ago. And it was about high blood pressure medication. And he exposed the AMA as insisting doctors have this uniform opinion rather than the ability to diagnose people as individuals. And he said, if this doesn't end, it's going to lead to bad places. And when you step back and you look at this, were you just amazed at the insistence? I mean, these are supposed to be doctors, all doctors, right? Doctors who are supposed to run things, our own government. And they basically were telling people like you who have practiced for decades, shut up and do what we tell you to do. I mean, That's what they said, whether they had the courage to tell you the truth. And what do you think the answer is? I think the answer is sue everybody, and I mean everybody, including the doctors that went along with this. Don't you?
Yeah, I'm working on that. I sued the FDA, and I did win that one. I'm suing the FSMB, which is the Federation of State Medical Boards, and I'm suing 6 medical boards along with 3 or 4 other doctors now over free speech, because they basically sent out a dictate to all the medical boards across the country to go after doctors for spreading misinformation, for challenging the quote-unquote standard of care for a disease that we had never seen before. And they, 2 of the people that I'm suing in my plaint cope on this lost their licenses during all this. So it was a big deal, and we're fighting back that way. And I'm still fighting the medical board over just on principle. It's been 4 years now, but I'm just not giving up because I think it matters in terms of setting a precedent.
It absolutely matters. And, you have to be vindicated. Time is the enemy of us all. This government, in conjunction with its medical associations around this country and others, stole 5 years from every living human being on the planet that could read and live in a civilized nation. Mm-hmm. Where do you go to get that time back? And the most outrageous ridiculousness is to tell people they couldn't go see their relatives. They made it all up. And in Chicago, these idiots still get promotions. They still get these ghost jobs and these phony jobs like they were married to Barack Obama. It's a nauseating thing to watch. So it's only through the lawsuits that you can change this. And when you look at everything that took place and the timing of it. Now, I'm one of those guys, I think, therefore I am. But I also like to pan back, right? Because this is one thing you learn when you're trying to figure out how to make money. You got to look at the big picture, the little picture, and all the pictures. When you think about the scandal that this helped cover up, this also helped cover up the OxyContin scandal, didn't it? Where doctors prescribed to their patients a drug that they said was safe when they knew full well the evidence had been there. It was more addictive than heroin or crack, and it forever changed the trajectory of drug addiction in this country. And it's amazing to see how, they had to admit they were wrong. And we just started to hear about these cases where I said, well, why would the government get the money? When you see these people who sue the big pharma, and all of a sudden the state of Illinois got the money instead of the people whose family members were drugged. And the state of Illinois is the one who licensed the doctors. So once again, it's a fake repercussion. And all that went under the rug when COVID and all this stuff came in. Do you ever think maybe there is a conspiracy to cover up scandal after scandal after scandal until there is no scandal?
Well, yeah, I think we learned that the hard way in the pandemic. I'm so glad you're talking about this because I keep saying this is an issue that directly impacted every single American, and yet the current administration will not talk about it. It's as if it never happened. It's very frustrating.
I wonder if that's because they feel, to a certain extent in the very beginning, culpable because they went along with the story that was told to them. And when you look at the fact that it was told to us by professional frauds and liars, and I don't just mean senators, by the CIA, and now you've got the whistleblower coming out. This is all evidence for your case. Is your lawyer just taking you out to Juicy Crab every night? This is big stuff going on. Really, this is your case. The reality of the news is your case, isn't it?
I hope so. It's great because it's bringing back the conversation, and people are talking about COVID again, which is what we need. And I have an organization called Americans for Health Freedom where we try to get politicians to speak out about these shots. And basically they just sign a pledge saying that they believe the COVID shot should be pulled off the market.
Oh.
And that just keeps growing. We have a big race in Texas. I know y'all are in Chicago, but Texas has a primary runoff in the next week. And I have both attorney general candidates just signed our pledge, which is amazing for Texas. It's a big deal.
Well, you know what else we need? We need to get the scope of just how many people have been damaged and harmed and exactly what the damage is. This is the other thing where all of a sudden you're supposed to be protected from the reality of what exactly is happening. And I have to think a big part of why you stood on this, and I think a lot of people stand on it, is for the people that are their kids and are their unborn great-grandkids or grandkids. And it's an amazing reality to see how just now, I don't think it gets the attention it needs. So I want you to sell, 10 million books. It's the least that could happen. Because people have to understand, it was all a lie, a story. And I love the fact that you named the book Dangerous Misinformation. Because that's what it was. From the very first story, it was a lie. And that needs to be the focal point. And the people who lied to us weren't just doctors. It was the government that financed the research and the development of a bioweapon. Don't you think it's time we use that conversation and that language? And when you tell your yet unborn great-grandkids or grandkids, I don't know how old you are, and I'm not going to insult you, but you're probably young. By the sound of your voice, you're 38 and gorgeous. Yeah. So when you tell your unborn grandkids this story, isn't that the proper way to tell the story? How many years ago the government thought they'd create a bioweapon and release it on their own people?
And a lot of people don't know this, but Biden spent $11.5 billion on propaganda. It was called the COVID-19 Community Corps, and it was money doled out to influencers, church groups, sports organizations, a vast web of influencers to make the money virtually untraceable. He launched that the same day that Houston Methodist, mandated the shot. Very coordinated.
Yes, it is. And I'm really a real estate broker. I just started filling in one day and they gave me this job. It's crazy. I don't know who's crazier, them or the people that listen. However, on my real estate phone, when you call my real estate phone and you say, I want to, look for real estate, on my message, it says, if you are dumb enough or low enough to have voted for Biden, do not expect a call back and tell all your friends. Yeah. Don't you think doctors should start doing this? Because I don't want to ever go to a doctor who voted for Biden, because that negates any letters after your name. Don't you think it's time we start drawing the lines?
Well, you can there's some simple questions or signs. If your doctor's still wearing a mask, that's a red flag.
Come on, Mary. You're like my mom. Stop being nice. But I love the fact that you took time to write the book, Dangerous Misinformation, the Virus, the Treatments, and the Lies. Dr. Mary Bowden, if I ever need whatever it is this is, well, how do you say this? Your specialty?
Otolaryngology.
Is that ears, nose, and throat?
Yes.
Oh, see that? Why can't you just say ears, nose, and throat? You're trying to make me look stupid. If I ever need this, I'm going to call you, as you are officially my doctor in Texas. We have a deal?
I would love that.
Thank you so much for making time for me. I look forward to going through the book. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back with your calls and comments.
He's Shaun Thompson.
Hello, Mr. Thompson.
And this is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, AM 560 listeners. Jeff checking in again from JeffBuysYourHouse.com. What I learned serving our great nation in the military is that every mission is unique and success starts with listening. For nearly 20 years, our veteran-led house buying team has taken the time to understand what matters most to each homeowner we serve. Every home has a story, and every seller has different needs. Whether you want a quick closing or need extra time to find your next place, we customize our approach around what works best for you. That's how we've earned hundreds of 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating with the BBB, by putting relationships first. No repairs needed, no cleanout required, and you pick the closing date that works best for your schedule. At JeffBuysYourHouse.com, we're here to help you through the entire transition, not just the transaction. Are you ready to work with a local team that takes the time to understand your home selling needs? Sell your house to the trusted source by calling us today at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or JeffBuysYourHouse.com.
Are you prepared for the Illinois estate tax? If your estate is worth over $4 million, your heirs could face a tax bill of up to 16% when you pass. Financial advisor Scott Tucker and the team at Scott Tucker Solutions can show you ways to potentially reduce or even eliminate that burden. One strategy is to start gifting assets during your lifetime to lower the taxable value of your estate. Another option is setting up irrevocable trusts, which can shield wealth from estate taxes. Charitable donations and life insurance policies can also be smart tools to offset tax liabilities. Call Scott Tucker and the Scott Tucker Solutions team now, 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. That's 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
RedState.com captures the pulse of grassroots conservatism. Red State staff of contributors are on top of breaking news with stories and analysis that challenge the established agenda. RedState.com educates, motivates, and activates passionate conservatives across America, arming them with the facts that put them ahead of the political curve. No wonder RedState.com is a must-read for elected officials and for citizens who want to make their vote count. RedState.com is the place where influence meets action. Log on to RedState.com today.
If stairs in your home are becoming difficult, there's a practical solution, and it doesn't have to come with pushy salespeople. Access provides dependable stair lifts designed to help you stay safely in the home you love. No gimmicks, no overselling, just honest guidance, quality equipment, and professional local installation. We'll explain your options, work within your budget, and let you decide what's right at your pace. For a straightforward, no-pressure, free in-home consultation, call 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. Recently, a professor of politics at Princeton wrote an op-ed pointing out how many of his students and students at other colleges simply are unfamiliar with the Ten Commandments. He writes, quote, "They lack religious literacy and their ignorance of religious ideas means they struggle to understand a wide array of Western art, literature, and philosophy," close quote. They also wouldn't understand a great deal of history, never mind political philosophy, from Marx to Rousseau, or recognize lines from Shakespeare to our founding, to Frederick Douglass, to Lincoln, to Martin Luther King Jr. This is what the late Richard John Newhouse worried about decades ago. An America with an increasingly naked public square, bare of any religiosity or recognition of religious faith or culture. What Newhouse feared is now nearly complete, when students at major universities are now illiterate in the cornerstone of Western civilization. Many states right now are debating posting the Ten Commandments in K-12 classrooms. This wouldn't be a parochial decision. It would, rather, constitute necessary, basic, and remedial education. I'm Seth Leibson.
In his new movie, The Dragon's Prophecy, Dinesh D'Souza brings the new Middle East into focus with a message of perseverance, faith, and a shared global destiny.
Could the fate of the world, of humanity itself, be somehow tied to this place?
At long last, we have peace in the Middle East.
Israel and Christians are coming together in a way they have never been before, since the book of Acts.
But is this the end of Hamas and radical Islam? What does the Bible say?
We have to become fighters in the spirit for God. We don't accept what the enemy wants to do with our culture. We don't accept what he wants to do with the nation. If we keep fighting, we win.
Powerful, prophetic, a must-see movie based on Jonathan Cahn's international bestseller. The Dragon's Prophecy combines history and scripture with faith, justice, and renewal. The Dragon's Prophecy, a new film by Dinesh D'Souza. Now available on Amazon, YouTube, and iTunes.
Nobody's talking about the market. That's how you know it's up. It's not all over the news. Nobody's talking about oil. That's how you know it's down and going much, much lower. You see, failures and frauds have to create phony industries to steal money, phony policies to steal money. The decent do not. So the private economy is going to grow for the remainder of Trump's term. And if people have a low IQ, it'll reverse into the corruption of Biden and Obama. But if not, the private sector will continue to grow, starting an economic boom that will dwarf Reagan's, which lasted about 30 years. So prepare yourself by going online to alphawealthgroup.com or calling Tom Fortino, 630-864-6711. And it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're young, if you're old, if you're in the middle, do today what you cannot do tomorrow. Capitalism has but one flaw. You have to get off your ass and participate. The good news is any little participation in investments by brilliant, strategic, honest investment advisors and groups like Alpha Wealth Group for 30 years has been growing people's wealth, so you don't have to worry what liars on TV say about the market and how the market reacts to the bastardization of corrupt policies. Tom Fortino will put you in the right funds, the right investments, by diagnosing and understanding your risk tolerance and explaining to you why he sometimes is quiet with the money and sometimes he's active, because market fluctuations aren't going to matter to you when you retire. All that's going to matter is that balance. So if you want that balance to grow, call 630-864-6711. The number again, 630-864-6711. Make sure you told him you heard about it on this show, because Tom Fortino and that company has been doing for 30 years what they can do for you tomorrow if you call that number or go online, alphawealthgroup.com. When we get back, Dave, you're going to lead us off in Libertyville. 312-642-5600 if you care to participate after Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, I'm Mike Scott. A muggy evening with a threat of a thunderstorm. Tensions remain high between the U.S. and Iran as both countries look for a potential peace deal. Fox's Trey Yingst is in Tel Aviv.
While the region waits to see if the war will resume in the days ahead, diplomatic efforts are playing out. Iran reportedly sent a revised proposal to Pakistani mediators aimed at addressing some of the gaps in their previous response. This comes as the economic situation inside of Iran is getting worse each day due to the ongoing U.S. blockade of Iranian ports.
A woman was charged with the murder of an infant stabbed to death last Friday. Police say the infant, a baby girl, was stabbed in the chest, then transported to the University of Chicago Medical Center, where she later died. Tatiana Maxwell was arrested at the University of Chicago Medical Center after jumping out of a window. White Sox celebrating a huge series win over the Cubs on the South Side. They visit the Mariners tonight. Cubs host Milwaukee. The News is a service of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. Brighten your home and make the rooms in your house look bigger and better with larger windows or patio doors this spring. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your consultation today. Your next news update comes your way at 6. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. In the AM 560 Traffic Center, here is Jill Urchak.
It's still busy out there. The Kennedy 50 minutes downtown out to O'Hare, while the outbound Evans looks good. Those express lanes on the Kennedy right past Belmont has an accident blocking the right lane. Also an accident outbound Eisenhower in the Gore. It's at Costner, but still heavy there. Hour and 5 out to 390. Stevenson outbound, a crash on the exit ramp to the Tri-State, and that travel time 50 out to 355, Dan Ryan 30, downtown to 95th. On DuSable Lakeshore Drive, that is heavy either way. Tri-State also busy in both directions, and we're seeing tie-ups on the Reagan as well as 355, scattered delays in both directions. Traffic is a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business. It's a calling, family-owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com, Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. Steiner Homes, love where you live. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy, warm, and humid with a chance of a thunderstorm that could bring hail and damaging winds. The low temperature will be 70. On Tuesday, expect warm conditions in the morning with cloudy skies and breezy conditions later on. There will be a few showers and a chance of a thunderstorm, which could bring localized damaging wind gusts. The high temperature will reach 79. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Amazon Business. Discover smart business buying where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Have military collectibles? Turn that history into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Squirrel, without this rat organization, Central Intelligence Agency, my ass. You're all a bunch of frackin' gangsters. That's all you are. Lying, thieving gangsters with unlimited power never checked the constant bureaucracy, the forever bureaucracy, immune to any realities. Every one of these scumbags, and I'm talking to you scumbags, that were involved in the drug trade to Mena, Arkansas, that were involved in anything to do with China and the mRNA, or I mean the COVID and the creation of it, anybody that sat with Barack Obama and worked to steal the election in 16 and 2020. I want everyone. In fact, let's just stop. No more CIA. Rip it down.
Little color that we're getting from and I want to give you a little color that we're getting from the CIA just now. They are not happy with the way this hearing is going down. They are accusing Senator Rand Paul and the Senate Homeland Security Committee of, quote, acting in bad faith in putting this hearing together.
You've been acting in bad faith since the end of WW2, or as Ilhan Omar would call it, World War XI.
They say this witness in there isn't a whistleblower. They say he hasn't sought any whistleblower protections. They said he's in that room right now because the committee subpoenaed him, compelled him to come in and testify. And the CIA says they weren't given a heads up about this. The committee didn't go through.
I got your heads up right here. Squirrel, you know what that phone number is? 1-800 right here. Dave, Libertyville.
Hey, Shaun. Good talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
I remember when, they first said, they were going to get this vaccine done
and
right
let's
away,
be clear, Dave, because people get mad at me when I say they. When I say they, here's what I'm talking about. The government liars and frauds who contracted, who developed, who financed both COVID and the fraud to poison the people with the vaccine. Go ahead.
All right. Whoever, the first thing I told my wife, or the first thing I thought of was, I'm not touching that thing at all. Really? I told my wife, don't touch it. The first thing she did was take it.
What, a vaccine?
Then,
yeah. Is she all right now?
And then she's still alive.
Sure, she doesn't have the Bell's palsy, walking around like a Democrat protester in Chicago with half the face that they can't move?
She's still a Democrat.
Oh, boy. All right, well, good luck with that, kid. All right, go ahead.
Hold on. My doctor, I told her when they came out with the vaccine, don't even ask me to take that.
Good.
Don't even ask me. And every time I go in there, they ask me, and I said, the last time I went in there, she asked me again.
Dude.
And she goes, why your face turning red?
Yeah.
I've had enough. Yeah. I don't want it in my records.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you right now. You need an NDD, no Democrat doctors. Now, too bad you didn't get an NDW, no Democrat wives, but too late for that. Hey, tell her to go get a booster. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Get two. Carrie, Crown Point.
Shaun, I am still vax-free. My son is still vax-free. If anyone would have listened to these stupid stories and thought for 1 second, you're going to have a bat, someone ate a bat, and now it's all over the United States of America. It's ridiculous.
The whole story was, I personally thought it was fantastic. Tell me more, Hans Christian Andersen. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I had Honey Bunny cut up Hans Christian Andersen. When we would talk about it, we would play the music. First, anything that needs a story is a lie. Didn't you learn this when you were, am I the only guy that grew up around scallywags and scoundrels? If you're telling me a story, it's a fracking lie. That's it. Just tell me, how'd you hit the pole, dummy? Don't tell me a story about how you went out and somebody offended you, you were forced to leave in a hurry. Everything that comes with a story is a fracking lie. That's why the best people who tell them are called senators, congressmen, and they were told by the CIA. Rat bastard liars. And now are you not happy? CIA guys, hey, you. And by the way, I got a problem with your HR department. Can you recruit any women that have an upper lip? Do you just get the ones without it?
The proper channels, and they provided Fox News a statement. It says in part, quote, the committee acted in bad faith by subpoenaing an agency officer for testimony today without notifying CIA, despite having already obtained closed-door testimony from the individual previously. The witness testifying today is not appearing as a whistleblower in pursuit of the truth, but instead in response to the subpoena issued by Chairman Paul.
Wait. Did the CIA say truth? Boy, oh boy. I can't stand it when liars, gypsies, or anybody at the CIA even says the true. Don't even say tra. Don't say tra, you lying rats.
Sir, the Republicans are trying to blame you for the existence of a small air base at Mena, Arkansas. This base was set up by George Bush and Oliver North and the CIA to help the Iran-Contras, and they brought in plane load after plane load of cocaine there for sale in the United States. And then they took the money and bought weapons and took them back to the Contras, all of which was illegal, as you know, under the Bolin Act. But tell me, did they tell you that this had to be in existence because of national security?
Well, let me answer the question. No, they didn't tell me anything about it. They didn't say anything to me.
They told you if you want to stay out of jail, you just keep making excuses. You're perfect for what we need to transform this country into a zombie land.
In 1982, cocaine trafficker Barry Seal set up one of the largest drug smuggling operations in the United States in Mena, Arkansas, under the approving eye of Governor Bill Clinton.
Barry Seal was a drug smuggler. Now, he tried to set it up in his home state of Louisiana, but they wouldn't let him. He had to come to a state that had a sleazy governor hooked on cocaine. There were 100 million a month in cocaine coming in and out of Mena, Arkansas. They had a problem. They were doing so much money in cocaine, 100 million. You create a problem in a little state like Arkansas. How do you clean $100 million a month? For about 2 months, I watched accounts accumulate money. At the end of the month, they zero balanced. They're laundering drug money.
In addition to the operations at Mena, small clearings in other parts of the state were used as drop points for money and cocaine.
They had special cargo doors installed on the side without FAA permission, so that these doors could be opened in flight. They'd pull in, slide back, and the cocaine could be dropped out the side in flight.
I snuck around, crawled through the bushes, thinking that I'd really have to hide to see them unloading the dope. Didn't have to. You could walk right up to the airport and they'd unload it right in front of you. They didn't care.
Clinton had integrated a number of corrupt cops, judges, and politicians into high-level positions to ensure the continued success of the drug smuggling, money laundering operations.
For 15 years, I did not encounter anything like the corruption which I encountered after the Mena investigation.
And all of this drug running, all of the trafficking of drugs, sending them all over the nation, came out of little Mena, Arkansas, right under the nose of little Governor Billy Clinton. Bill Clinton controlled the legal system. He controlled the judges. He controlled the attorneys. He controlled the banks.
It's just a small state, a one-party state. What tends to happen in small states like that, I think, is the longer the person remains governor, that
he did what he was told for the CIA, which is why they always feared Trump. I mean, after all, what has Trump done to drug trade? What has Donald Trump done to the drug trade, to the fluidity that has been a problem for this country, for the decent people in this country for decades? What did he do to the cartels and the control the cartels have had over not just the border, but the flow of drug money? What did he do to it? And you're starting to see he's affected it all. And that was the fear why the CIA worked hand in glove with Barack Obama. By the way, a lot of drugs in Chicago, huh? A lot of dope. Never seem to get them. Never really get the big distributors, do they? Missed it by that much, huh? Yeah, you're hard to figure out. Lee Hammond.
Hey, Shaun, I remember Bill Gates saying before this whole pandemic thing, if we do a good job at vaccines, we could eliminate 15% of the populace. October of 2019, Trump tells the crowd over at Davos he will not put the American people, subjugate them to foreign control. Hey. And then within weeks, the pandemic starts, like in December of 2019.
You know what?
And this is right after Bill Gates ran a drill in New York in November or October of that 2019. And what would happen if an airborne pathogen like that got let loose? How would you lock down a big city like New York?
Well, you know what else is interesting, Lee? That mRNA changes everything, right? That vaccine. In fact, did you know, Lee, they could test you to see if you've had the vaccine. What do you want to bet, Lee? You like to bet? I like to bet. I would bet everything I have that Bill Gates' kids do not have that mRNA in their blood. You want to bet that?
Well, Well, Bill Gates' daddy was one of the kingpins of Planned Parenthood.
In fact,
remember they used to call it the American Eugenics Society.
Of course.
Before Hitler got hold of it.
Yeah, come on. I went to school when the teachers taught us how to read, Lee. I know all that. You know what's interesting, too, Lee? I would bet you that all these upper echelon politicians who are pushing the vaccine, I'll bet you they don't have the mRNA in their blood. You want to bet that?
Wait, they got the placebo.
Yeah, they got their ass is what they got. They got nothing. That's for us. Just like all of the, how many politicians outside of Joe Biden, how many politicians' kids are hooked on fentanyl and dope and crack? How many of them ever worked with the Sinaloa cartel, like all the politicians in Mexico and the Democrat-run areas?
And some breaking news just into us. Federal prosecutors just filed new charges against a Mexican state governor and 9 other current and former Mexican government and police officials for allegedly conspiring with cartel leaders, including the sons of El Chapo. Prosecutors writing in brand new court documents, quote, these politicians and law enforcement officials have abused their authority in support of the cartel, exposed and subjected victims to threats and violence. And
what about all the CIA guys that worked with El Chapo and the other cartels? They get to walk free? 312-642-5600.
Call Shaun now.
1-800 right here.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Ever wonder what the Greek god slept on? Huh? You know, like Aphrodite.
The goddess of love.
Do you think she had a heart-shaped bed?
Maybe.
And Hades, god of the underworld.
I suppose he slept on a trundle bed.
I think the Greek gods would have loved the Nevaeh bedroom from Penny Mustard.
Well, Nevaeh is heaven backwards.
And sleeping in the Nevaeh bedroom is heavenly.
Sophisticrafted, sleek, and sturdy.
Along with forever tight bed brackets.
An interchangeable fabric headboard.
Smooth, full extending steel drawer slides.
And drawer bottoms strong enough to stand on.
A bedroom fit for a king.
You mean a Zeus?
Yeah, but not Poseidon.
Why not?
Here it comes.
He'd have a waterbed.
The Nevaeh bedroom, starting at just $168 a month, with no interest and no payments till May of 2029, through May 31st at Penny Mustard.
6 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Did you know most remodeling mishaps start before construction even begins? Here's something else you should know. At Forever Remodeling, we do things differently. Every kitchen, bathroom, and basement project starts with smart planning, detailed 3D designs, a clear scope of work, and accurate pricing, all sorted out before you get started. No surprises, no stress, just beautiful results, done right the first time. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, EVER, remodeling.com, and schedule your free in-home consultation today.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know, when Comey was in the FBI, Brennan was at the CIA. Man, these cartel guys had the time of their life, didn't they? Woo-wee! Drugs floating around. Well, they have money being laundered.
These charges reflect the devastating harm inflicted on communities on both sides of the border through violence, addiction, and intimidation.
Federal prosecutors announced a new indictment against Rene Arzate Garcia, known as La Rana, an alleged plaza boss for the Sinaloa cartel who investigators say has controlled the Tijuana drug corridor for more than a decade. His brother, Alfonso Arzate Garcia, known as Achilles, is also wanted. The State Department offering $5 million each for information leading to their arrest or conviction.
That changes things, huh? And then these little Democrat strongholds, where the quality of life is so low you think it's normal to walk past drug addicts pulling a Biden in their trousers.
That we are reclaiming these neighborhoods for the people who live and work here. We are taking back what the defendants are alleged to have stolen from the community, which is peace, prosperity, law, and order.
20 minutes of nonstop news begins with taking down a network of drugs and guns in Philadelphia. New photos show the subjects of a massive FBI operation that you saw unfolding as breaking news at 11 a.m. Federal agents are now calling it the largest federal indictment this century in this district. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Jacqueline London.
I'm Tracy Davidson. The operation unfolded in the heart of Kensington, where the opioid crisis has destroyed lives and neighborhoods for years.
But nobody talked about it, huh? And the government certainly didn't do jack about it when was supposedly the president after he stole the election.
And Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce right, Shanga Kawawa.
And the only thing dumber, lower, and more corrupt than a Biden are the idiots that voted for him. Glenn, Wisconsin.
When I hear him say that Shang-a-lang koala, it just makes me laugh. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
4 years
anyway,
of that stuff. Laying on a table with those skinny little bird legs up in the air, waiting for Jill to hit him in the ass with some baby powder. Go ahead.
I'll try and make it really quick. When I was 17 in high school back in '83, I got the flu, and I had something called Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Oh.
Guillain-Barré.
Yeah, a friend of mine had it. It's
on
terrible.
the respirator for 3 months and then stuff. But in the 70s, when they had the swine flu, there was a rash of Guillain-Barré when they were given the vaccines for the swine flu. And I've heard that other than the myelitis, the thing with the heart, that there has been some Guillain-Barré and the Bell's palsy, which is almost the same type of thing from the shot for the COVID. And it's crazy that they didn't inform us about all that. My son that came back from the Air Force, he had to take it. My wife, to go see his graduation in Texas before he was deployed, she had to take it to go see that. And because I had the thing, I couldn't even go. It's kind of
Glenn,
it's
look
crazy that they
at
wouldn't let us know.
look at these countries that do not do to their citizens what American medicine and government does to their citizens. Just look around the world at the difference in cancer in India. Just pick India. They don't do any vaccine. They have what? 2 billion people shoved in the country of India. It's like standing in a train station, and yet they don't have the vaccines. Look at the difference in the low cancer rates, in the low syndromes of that Barré. How do you say the first? I remember a friend of mine had this.
Well, Guillain. It was a couple of French guys that found it. Gillian, it's spelled. But
my friend had this years ago when he had to get the vaccines. He wanted to go to Europe, and it was like a last minute. They hit him with all the vaccines. Next thing you know, he had it. It's something to even live through it. That could kill you very easily, change your life forever. Luckily, he beat it. But it's amazing to see how that goes ignored. And it's been traced back for decades to vaccines. And when you look at this new vaccine, the new mRNA, and the guy who had the patent, Robert Malone, saying, I don't like it, you're not going to listen to him. Who are you going to listen to? And it's amazing.
The worst part is they keep telling you to take boosters over and over, too.
Please. And these are the people that they don't understand. They want to get you just sick enough where you can be a cash register for them. If you're not sick, they don't ring the register on it. Glenn, I'm going to go to the doctor maybe to pronounce my pieces of me as dead. I wouldn't go to a doctor, but especially wouldn't go to a Democrat doctor. After all, you know who a Democrat doctor is, Squirrel? Dr. Jill, doctor of Gatsangul.
I see a yellow duck looking at me. Yellow duck, what do you see? I see a... Shut the
Yeah, that's right, kid. That kid, what we put up with for 4.5 years.
Over $1.3 billion.
You know what he was good for, though? Green energy. Oh, they stole trillions. I didn't get a chance to cover the New York solar panel farms, but maybe we'll cover that. We'll cover the scams of those data centers. Oh, why do you think they always go in these Democrat dunghole areas? Love the scams. Almost as good as the hospice scams in California, New York, Minnesota, Illinois. Cover that and so much more. We'll be back soon.
If you're considering investing in precious metals, don't wait. The Iranian conflict seems to be nearing an end, and the time is now to position your retirement for massive growth. Advantage Gold is America's #1 precious metals company, and they want to send you a free gold and silver investor guide valued at $49 when you call 800-900-8000. Plus, you'll get a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Our specialists can help you open a new account or transfer funds from an existing IRA, tax and penalty-free, and show you how a gold-backed IRA can put real, tangible assets into your retirement portfolio. Markets react to news cycles, but gold has maintained its value through inflation, volatility, and economic uncertainty. When the purchasing power of the dollar declines, that's when investors turn to gold and silver. Make your move now. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Results may vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Hey, it's Scott Tucker and my new co-host,
Amy Jacobson,
on AM 560. We wanted you to know that we have a special show every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. here on AM 560, The Answer. It is Retirement Decoded with Scott Tucker and
Amy Jacobson.
It's every Sunday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. 2-hour show, 2-hour radio extravaganza. Amy, we're going to tantalize the listening public and the listening private with all kinds of retirement planning information. So tune in at AM 560 Sunday mornings at 7 a.m.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
So many people are ashamed of a country they should be absolutely proud of. The youngest, the richest, with the highest quality of life, because we have the Americans who are the most courageous. My next guest is a historian, author of the new book, The National Road, George Washington and America's First Highway West. He's also somebody you've seen in the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post for a while. Brady Kreitzer will join us after Foxweiser.
Police saying it's a hate crime until it's not. I'm John Saucier. Well, a Fox News alert, a horrifying scene at a San Diego mosque today. 3 people killed and a pair of gunmen opened fire at the Islamic Center of San Diego. The police chief there is Scott Wall, says both suspects are now dead.
There is no further threat. Both suspects in this case are deceased.
The 2 shooters believed to be teens. The case is considered to be a hate crime for now. The Islamic Center is the largest mosque in San Diego County. President Trump says he's called off planned strikes on Iran tomorrow.
At the request of leaders of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, President Trump says he is holding off on a military attack on Iran planned for tomorrow. In a social media post, the president says serious negotiations are now taking place, and in the opinion of Arab allies and partners, a deal will be made, which is acceptable to the U.S. Still, President Trump says he's ordered Pentagon leaders to prepare to go forward with a full, large-scale assault of Iran on a moment's notice in the event an acceptable deal is not reached. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro is cracking down on teen takeovers in Washington.
It is a familiar scene in our nation's capital these days. They are known as teen takeovers, as mobs of teenagers get in trouble in what authorities are calling violent and disruptive gatherings. On Saturday night, 2 groups of apparent teenagers clashed in a Chipotle restaurant. Police say witnesses told them one group of juveniles was inside the restaurant when another group went in and a fight broke out immediately. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro says she will hold parents accountable if they don't take responsibility for their teenagers.
This terrorizing is going to end, and the message that lawlessness runs the streets is over.
In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
America's listening to Fox News.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the Kennedy downtown to O'Hare, that is a 50-minute trip, while the outbound Eden still looks good. Eisenhower 1 hour post office to 390, and an accident northbound 55 at 126 to watch for. Stevenson outbound 45 to Saba Lakeshore Drive out to 355. Dan Ryan out 25, tighten the express. 43rd to Marquette. DuSable Lakeshore Drive and the Tri-State both heavy either way. All the tollways still showing delays in both directions. The northbound Route 53, that slows from the Eisenhower to Kirchhoff, and you could blame that on construction. But slowly things are easing a bit now. This report is a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency providing high-performing digital solutions to surround your target audience. Go to surroundchicago.com today. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy, warm, and humid with a chance of a thunderstorm that could bring hail and damaging winds. The low temperature will be 70. On Tuesday, expect warm conditions in the morning with cloudy skies and breezy conditions later on. There will be a couple of showers and a chance of a thunderstorm with the potential for localized damaging wind gusts. The high temperature will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Progressive presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going. Today's hero, the true crime podcaster you listen to during a long haul. Yes, you may never look at a pair of pliers the same way again, or your spouse using pliers. But boy, you were entertained. Thanks, hero. Another thing that can keep truckers going, Progressive Truck Insurance with primary liability limits up to $2 million. Get a quote at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. $2 million limit is not available in all states.
Life is full of challenges, but you don't have to face them alone. At intouch.org, you'll find powerful sermons from Dr. Charles Stanley, daily devotionals, and resources designed to strengthen your faith and bring hope into your everyday life. Whether you're searching for encouragement, biblical wisdom, or practical guidance, intouch.org is here to help you grow closer to God. Discover truth that speaks to your heart. Visit intouch.org today. Thanks.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency. Both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family owned with integrity since 1981.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white,
Thank God I'm old. Do you ever feel like that, Squirrel? Ah, you're a young man. You don't know what old is. Old. You know how you know what old is in America? When you were taught by teachers who not only could teach you how to read and do math. You were taught by teachers who were proud of their country, not this new Marxist mafia, who understands if you're going to control perception, if you're going to control and induce self-loathingness, you must implement fear, obligation, and guilt. So one thing is for certain, you can never teach the real history of America. Because if you did, those kids would be so proud of themselves for being American, so proud of their country, so proud of the Enlightenment and the principles that didn't conquer, but enabled people to be free and represented rather than ruled. My next guest has been writing about this for years. He's a historian of the American frontier and so much more. New book, The National Road, George Washington and America's First Highway West. Brady Kreitzer, how are you?
I'm good, Shaun. How are you?
Very good. It's a wonderful opportunity to talk to you. I have enjoyed you, and I've seen your writings and different things, but they've been writing about you for many years as well, as you really have tackled the American frontier, the American West, and why people should be proud of a country built on an idea and built on that idea that has been truly progressive versus people who call themselves progressive, isn't it?
You know, if you study America long enough, Shaun, you really start to see the beauty of it. You start to see the amazing achievement that we've made here in this country. I recently did an op-ed for the Philadelphia Inquirer in support of President Trump's triumphal arch for 250 years of American history. That is such an incredible achievement that was so unlikely throughout our whole past. It's something worth celebrating, and I want people to join in that celebration with me.
So as you look at this, you know, and luckily enough, do you want to know, Brady, the blessing is I was not taught out of the Howard Zinn Hate Your Country books. And I was also taught from people who were Depression babies. That was kind of the beauty of being born in the 60s. You were still around those people, right? And these are people who had nothing. We don't understand how poor that is, right? And you've got grandparents that could make soup out of chicken feet. And it was delicious soup. And they never used the word anxiety. They were never anxious. They were never in a bad mood. In fact, those people, the vast majority of them, were so proud and so happy just because they were in a country, the youngest and the richest. There has to be a recipe there. There has to be an understanding. In your opinion, when you look back at this, what do you think changed in the feeling? There are still, you have to understand, I now live in the South, and it's a different, people are different. They're proud of their country still. But when I come back to Illinois, or Illinois as it's more formally known, and you're around, they hate themselves. They hate the country. They hate what it was founded on. Is it strictly teachers? Does it really boil down to teachers and textbooks?
You know, Shaun, I don't know if I see that as much. I spend a lot of time in history classes with students. And I spend a lot of time with the founding generation, you know, reading their letters and going through their notes. I'm not a very political person because history kind of is an antidote to that in a way. You know, when you study history for a long time, things like D's and R's fall away, and you just see leadership. You just see really strong, good people. But I'll tell you the issue that I'm seeing with young people today, and it's not so much what you're seeing, but there's a general sense amongst them, and it's even more frightening to me. They've almost given up. They don't feel like the American dream is attainable for them for whatever reasons. They hear about AI taking their jobs. You know, when you're 20, you should be filled with hope. And I don't see that a lot from young people, and it's very upsetting. And this has happened in the last 10 years. So I think a book like this, seeing people who also had very little hope, but all they did have was a strong work ethic and a desire to achieve, I think that's a good lesson for everybody.
Well, what else is fascinating when you look at our country and you look at George Washington, the reality of things is they're young men. They were young. Everyone thinks they're old, but they're not old. It was just a different kind of wisdom and a different kind of mentality there. And when you look at George Washington and you're doing the research for the book, what shocked you the most, what impressed you the most, and what didn't you know when you went into it?
Well, you know, this is my 8th book about George Washington, Shaun, so I feel like I've gotten to know him pretty well, but what always strikes me is we see him as a statue. We have a painting of him in our wallets, all of us do. You know, when you really learn the man, he's a man of many deep faults and bad habits, I think. One of the things that's most striking to me is that he is filled with self-doubt throughout his career, whether it be as a young colonel on the frontier, as a general in the Continental Army, even as president. He always felt like he wasn't good enough for the job, that he wasn't up to the challenge. And I think that's what made him a great leader, was he didn't believe he could do this all by himself. But I'll tell you where he did find strength, and I think we could all learn from this. He had a deep and abiding faith in God. And when you read his notes at any time in his life, he talks about what he called providence. And providence to him meant that he had a destiny, and America had a destiny that he could not see with his mortal eyes, but he knew that God had a plan. And in his darkest moments, places like Valley Forge, that's what got him through. And I think that's so powerful of a message for us.
And you know what's fascinating? If you look at the historical records of what they faced and how they faced it without any technology, people don't realize how many of them didn't have shoes. Literally didn't have shoes. You know, I mean, you listen to these kids, we've got the technology. We have coats that could offset the cold in which these guys could only dream of. They had nothing. They had wool. And when you look back and you think of it, the only thing that was different, the only thing that got them through that was their character. And when you read the letters, you're talking 250 years ago, and the understanding and the comprehension of thought and the fact that they had a decision to change the trajectory of history. The intellect of these people, it's amazing. It's far greater than it exists today. If we're lucky, it's the same, isn't it?
Well, so we have to remember when you're dealing with history, you're reading letters of the most literate people. So, most of my research, Shaun, I deal with the frontier. So places like Western Pennsylvania, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois. These people are tough, smart people, but they're not writing a lot down. They're an oral culture. They're going to pass down their histories sitting around a campfire or sitting around a fireplace. So those are people that are kind of harder to find in history, but they are as much a part of the revolutionary generation as anyone. So let's say we have someone who writes this really detailed book. That is just their opinion, but we've also heard from them a lot in history. So I try to find the regular, hardworking people that we don't often hear from. I consider myself something of a blue-collar historian. I'm from Pittsburgh. If I had gone into the family business, I would have been a fourth-generation steelworker. As cliche as that sounds, it's true. And I know those people have strong opinions, and they are educated, but how they convey it's a little different. So
absolutely.
I would challenge anyone going into history. We have a lot of people from highly educated institutions in Virginia and New York and Boston in the Revolutionary period, and they love to hear themselves talk. They would have loved social media. But I try to find the people whose voices are a little tougher to find because they are as much a player as that story as anyone.
How much of a vision do you think they had or an understanding of what was possible at the time they were making these decisions? And I'm curious to know how you got the National Road and George Washington's America's his first highway west. Did they have any understanding of just what they were? Well, any understanding is an insult. Did they have an understanding of the gravity of what they were doing and how successful they could have they ended up being? How did they always envision the America we now take for granted? Did they understand what they were really creating?
I think some did, most did not. I was just leading a tour at Lexington and Concord a few weeks ago in Boston, and we were explaining the fight at Concord Bridge, right? And these were people that weren't really fighting for their country per se at the time. They saw their homes in Concord being burned by British soldiers, and they were fighting to get back to their families. Now, that is the shot heard around the world. That's a battle that's going to change history, but like the former Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, used to say, all politics is local. I think all history is local too. Mm-hmm. So they weren't fighting for the 21st century. They were literally fighting to save their families. But that's what the revolution is. It's this grand series of very personal sacrifices, and not just in places like Boston, but in places like the Great Lakes around Fort Detroit, in places like Kentucky, in places like Western Virginia, and these are local battles that in totality change the world.
I still have a hard time when the so-called, the idea that we even pretend there are kings. When the king comes and all this, his mother and God save the queen, I still have a hard time because I used to love the idea that a couple of people in this country said, enough is enough. Enough is enough. I'm not going to be anybody's slave, anybody's servitude. I'm not going to pay homage, and I'm certainly not going to get taxed. And I love when you hear them talk about the idea that they could be taxed for living, taxed for buying, taxed for existing and earning. I still look at taxation that way. Do you think that Americans today understand how repulsed the people who founded this country were by the idea that they were but subjects to a king or a queen?
The issue of being a subject was really not as contentious as I think we moderns make it out to be. We have to remember the revolution is like a 20-year era of history.
Yeah.
1763 to 83. So this is an evolving, I mean, just think how much we've changed in 20 years. It's an evolving process. On the issue of taxation, boy, we could talk about this forever. The founders would not recognize this country and the absolutely insane level of taxation that we have. We have taxes still in place from World War I today. The notion of an income tax was something that would have been completely foreign to them. It would have flown entirely in the face of their interpretation of freedom. And freedom is the key word here, because part of being and living in a free society for the revolutionary generation was the ability to make a living, the ability to support your family without the bonds of government in the way. And if I could talk about my book for a little bit.
Yes, please.
The National Road, this grand interstate from the East Coast all the way to Vandalia, Illinois, your old stomping grounds, that was one of the first things that new immigrants, when they came here, saw was that highway.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a highway with no tolls or taxes at all. It was completely free. And they had come from Europe, where every road was privately owned and taxed and tolled to the extreme. So for a lot of these immigrants coming here in 1810 and 1820 and 1830, their first interaction with America is a free highway that's over 600 miles long, and it'll take you as far as you want to go, and you didn't pay a cent. So the idea that the freedom and taxes are going hand in hand, or I should say freedom from taxes, that's as old as America itself.
You know what else? I'm curious to know your thoughts. I mean, I kind of know him, as I'm somewhat familiar with a lot of what you're doing, especially if you're focusing on George Washington. What do you think the founding fathers or George Washington himself would say about the idea that it is completely without any ramification, without any consequence, that a politician in this country in 2026 can openly and knowingly lie to their public? When his whole thing was, he couldn't tell a lie. I'm George Washington. I cut the tree down the whole 9 yards. I mean, seriously, the idea that, in Chicago, one thing. The reason FBI agents show up in 2 is because they're going to say you lied to them and you do a year and a day. But if a politician or an FBI agent lies to the public, that's perfectly fine. It's amazing how that's flipped. I mean, after all, we're a country built because we wouldn't tolerate a lie, let alone a politician that did. Don't you think that George Washington would be appalled at how politicians lie to us about what they're going to do with our tax dollars and there are no consequences?
Well, I can say I know he would have been appalled, because he was appalled in his own time by that very thing. People ask me what would George Washington think about America today. He probably wouldn't recognize any of it except what's going on in Congress. The deception, the lies, the self-dealing. In his farewell address when he left the presidency, his warning to America was to stay away from political parties, because he knew they were divisive, and he knew they pitted us against each other, and he knew that people were self-serving in that regard. So he dealt with it a lot in his own time. He dealt with it in the colony of Virginia when he was still a colonist. He dealt with it with the Congress whenever he was president. That's the great thing about his letters. We know exactly how he would feel about this, and I would encourage any of your listeners to read his farewell address when he left office, because he knew the direction America was going even in 1796. And wouldn't you be darned to know that so much of what he talks about is still pretty relevant?
Oh, absolutely it is. And, I've done my own kind of thinking on this when it comes to who these people were. And when you listen to them and when you listen to the way in which they focused on what was important, I think it boils down to character. And they might not have had the technology. They didn't have the convenience or the ease. They didn't have the machinery. But boy, oh boy, did they have character. And when you read what they say to each other and about what they wanted, we have all this technology, all these iPhones and phones, cars. we don't have half the character that George Washington had. He just had a terrible smile, right? What do you think?
Boy, every generation has its heroes and its bums. You know what? I could talk about technology a bit. I can tell you as an educator, I know AI has a lot of potential, but it has been devastating for my classes because so much of history is engaging in the material, and I always stress this to my students, giving your opinion of it. We can all look at the same document and come to 10 different conclusions, but a computer is not going to do that for you. And I've read dozens and dozens of AI essays, which, by the way, scream of AI immediately. No, they're not fooling anyone. Yeah. But there's a cost to that, and the cost is that people aren't engaging in, as you know, the rigor of thought. I mean, sometimes challenging what you think you know is the best way to learn. I learn every day that way. We're always learning new interpretations. So
you don't fall in love.
Today's not working for us. Yeah.
You don't fall in love, right? I mean, when you're reading what they're thinking and what they're conveying and you fall in love with the idea. You are there, and you're picking it. Am I an anti-federalist? Am I a federalist? And and when you look, one of the most amazing things to me, and I think all kids should read it, are the letters not between the generals, but between the soldiers in Civil War. And the thought of what that could have been if it hadn't been. A million Americans at a time when the population was infinitesimal compared to what it is now. And how, your opinion changes. This is one of the things about history and history teachers, I think, is fascinating. I'm a big fan of those people that poke, and pick and don't agree with it. And if you just sit back for a minute and you say, who's the president that a 5-year-old and a 95-year-old will tell you is the greatest president? And everybody will say Lincoln. And who's the only president that resided over a civil war and told the military to kill the other Americans? And you argue that. It's really fascinating. What would George Washington think of a civil war? Would he be for it? After all, he wasn't for taking it. Would he be against it when you look at the way in which they create? So it's very interesting. And how do you think like that if you don't read it yourself? AI isn't going to tell you that. Only some jerk on Chicago radio is going to tell you, wait a minute, did he just say that the greatest president is not Lincoln? You know what I mean? So you can only do that if you fall in love with the concepts and the thoughts and the challenges, because you're not teaching kids how to recite what you think. You're teaching them how to think. And that's what's kind of different, isn't it?
It is. And you know what, Shaun, if I could, I would challenge a bit. The first 3 chapters of The National Road are about George Washington's vision for the American future, which he didn't believe was overseas. He believed it was in the West. And one of the things that cemented that for him was in 1784, 1 year after the Revolution, he crosses over the Appalachian Mountains to explore what he called the West. And he was treated very badly by Scots-Irish settlers when he went there.
Man, it was my great-grandfather was probably a jerk. No, go ahead.
Well, he came back to Virginia, and he warned the governor of Virginia that there's 2 separate Americas forming.
Yes, there are.
Not north and south, but east and west. And that leads us to an event in the 1790s. Washington believed if you couldn't find a way to connect these people over the mountains, and the National Road is his answer, that we could have secession and civil war. And I would challenge when you said that it never happened. It did happen in 1794.
Yeah.
An event we call the Whiskey Rebellion.
You wrote a book about that, didn't you?
That's right. Yeah. At the time, they called it the Western Insurrection because everything Washington predicted, right again in 1784, comes through 10 years later. These farmers in places like Western PA and Kentucky tried to secede and join the Spanish. Washington had to lead a 13,000-man army himself against those rebels. And it was the only time in American history that a sitting president, as commander-in-chief, led the army himself.
Well, they were some bad caballeros.
So he did have his his Civil War for sure.
Yeah. Well, people don't realize, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the Ulster Scots, the vast majority of them were indentured servants? They came here and they sold themselves for 12 years, right? Was the deal? And
that's pretty early on. That's more like the 1600s. That would be over by this point.
They're the reason they have Marquess of Queensberry rules when you fight, because they were wild animals. You did not want to fight one of these son of a guns. And in fact, I'm wondering, when you look at real history, I mean, who else would have killed the Comanches, the enemy of all, except for the Ulster Scots? They were the only things that were close to the Vikings, weren't they?
So they came from a world what they suffered under what they called landlordism.
Yeah.
And what that meant was in Europe, they worked the land, they harvested the crops, and they got none of the profits. The English kept everything from them. So when they came to America, they were fiercely, and as you mentioned, fiercely independent and fiercely attached to whatever land they could get. And this is true from Pennsylvania all the way to Illinois. And that was to them, the great expression of freedom we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
What makes you free, right? That's something they can pass on to their children and grandchildren. Only lords and dukes in Europe got that privilege to do that. So they were not willing to give up their land. They would fight anybody, including themselves, to keep it. And that leads to obviously so much of the story of westward expansion in the early republic.
Yeah. Yes, and they were the Comanches said, boy, stay away from those guys. They have clothes on, and they will bite your face off. The name of the book is The National Road, George Washington and the America's First Highway West. Now, this is how many books you've written, because I know about a few of them. How many have you written so far?
So this will be my 8th book.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. And you're still actively teaching at Robert Morris University, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So where's the best place? Because I want everybody to buy the book, The National Road, but where's the best place for people to learn about Professor Brady Kreitzer?
Well, you can go to my website, BradyKreitzer.com. I'm not hard to find. I'm on every social media. I have a YouTube channel. I'm an editor at the Journal of the American Revolution, so you can see a lot of my stuff there. But BradyKreitzer.com has all of my links. I'm very active with videos, podcasts. I like to be one of those people that I think uses technology for good.
Absolutely.
Meet people where they are. Maybe not everybody has time to read an article. Maybe they have 30 minutes at the gym to listen to a podcast. So I am all over the place.
See, and I'm optimistic because I think that their AI, someone's going to say, you know what, this Brady Kreitzer is a hell of a historian. Let's take his 8 books and load it up to AI. And this way we could save the future. So thank you.
No doubt.
Thank you very much for making time for me. It means a lot. I've enjoyed your stuff for many years. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Shaun.
Thank you. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
He believes in freedom, capitalism, and individual liberty. And because of that, he's become an enemy of the state. He's Shaun Thompson, and this is The Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-522-2174. 800-522-2174. 800-522-2174.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. If you're a business owner with unfiled tax returns, tax season is not your friend. This is when the IRS turns up the heat. They match 1099s. They review payroll filings. They compare bank deposits. And when returns are missing, they don't send you a warning. They take action. Penalties stack up fast. Liens become public. Bank levies can drain your account. I see it every year. Good business owners who waited too long, not because they're crooks, but because they were overwhelmed. Let me be clear, hiding makes it worse. Action makes it fixable. I help business owners get compliant, file what's missing, and negotiate from a position of strength, not fear. Don't wait for the next certified letter. Don't wait for a levy. Go to fightbacknow.com and sign up for my daily email. I'll tell you exactly what to do next, step by step. Or call me right now at 312-664-6649. Act now before the IRS acts first.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you. Would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of five-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
If you've saved $100,000 or more for retirement, call Steve Shyman today at 833-945-7283. That's 833-WILL-SAVE. 833-WILL-SAVE. Schedule your no-cost, no-obligation retirement review and make sure your plan is built to protect what you've worked so hard to earn. And don't forget to listen to Steve's show, Protecting Your Assets, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on AM 560. Call now, 833-945-7283.
Although I have limited interest, if any, in Illinois real estate, where I do have an interest, Goldilocks is what I use for security. And I'm visiting that interest right now, this week. And I was able to talk to a couple neighbors I haven't talked to, old neighbors I had. And it was so nice. You know, I talked to the one guy. He goes, man, I was going to put the garbage back for the kids. Lights are on all over the place, buzzing, noises, you're trespassing. That's because I have Goldilocks. I love it. They're all people I'm related to stay in those residents. And Goldilocks is the only one I trust. You watch this news. That chaos. By the way, West Loop, you shot 2 girls in the knee? The frick. Ghetto, it's devolving into a third world. That's what happens when Democrats are in charge. And they're exporting that ghetto, in case you can't figure it out. And what's the repercussions? Nothing. So you have to take it upon yourself to secure your property, scare away the scum, notify the good guys that are still there. And it all happens at GoldilocksInc.com. Call 708-889-5600. They will send one of the best professionals at Goldilocks. By the way, 40 years, 4 decades of experience, 40 Americans, good Americans, still working at Goldilocks, family-owned business. They'll send out a technician. He'll look at your property. He'll give you a plan of what he thinks you need. And then you could say, well, how about we add another camera here? After all, I got a creepy neighbor likes to look at the kids in the backyard. I want a camera on his house. They put a camera on that house. And this way you can secure your home. Taking an old bungalow that you're giving away after years of stress and paying the taxes, you're giving it away, and they will secure it into a smart home. You don't have to ask, are the doors locked? Are the windows locked? Who's in the backyard? Goldilocks Inc. can show everybody. It's not just your house. It's a retail store. Do you rent a retail store? Are you sick of having the doors kicked in? Call Goldilocks. They do doors, custom doors. Cameras throughout, retail, condo, warehouse. Do you have a manufacturing plant? You want to shut off the badges? You got your eye on some sneaky, slippery cleaning crew with a face tattoo that you think is MS-13? Shut off the badges. You can turn them on and turn them off all remotely. Everything available at GoldilocksInc.com. Call 708-889-5600. Tell them you heard about it on my show. 3 months free. Residential, condo, retail, warehouse. All available at GoldilocksInc.com. Mention my show, 3 months free, no matter who you are. When we get back, 312-642-5600, after news with Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, I'm Mike Scott. There is a threat of a thunderstorm tonight with a low of 71. President Trump dropping a $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS. Here's Fox's Jared Halpern.
Attorneys for the president filed a motion to withdraw his $10 billion lawsuit against the Internal Revenue Service over the leak of his tax returns by a contractor several years ago. The court filing does not mention any settlement between President Trump and the IRS.
One person killed, 2 others hospitalized after a house explosion in Wonder Lake Sunday night. And short-term rentals booked through platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo in Illinois will cost a lot more under legislation advancing in Springfield, creating a new statewide tax on stays shorter than 30 days. White Sox take on the Mariners. Cubs host Milwaukee. The news a service of Straight Talk Wireless. Every now and then, you find a deal that actually feels like a win. With Straight Talk Wireless, you get more and pay less That's a good deal. No contracts, no credit checks, no surprises. All on Verizon's 5G network. Find it in the same place you've always found straightforward prices exclusively at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Your next news update comes your way at 7. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. In the AM 560 Traffic Center, here is Jill Urchak.
On the outbound Kennedy, easing up a bit. We're at 40 minutes. Downtown to O'Hare, that is actually getting better. And the Edens is still in good shape. Outbound Eisenhower, 40 minutes as well. Post Office to 390. And northbound 55, the accident at 126. Moved off to the side. Stevenson, 40 minutes out to 355 from DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Sounds like a running theme. Outbound Dan Ryan, 25 minutes. On the outbound 4, there's a crash on the exit ramp to 111th that crews are still taking care of. DuSable Lakeshore Drive and the Tri-State still seeing delays either way. Also southbound 355 a bit snug, easing up on the other ones. Traffic is a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com, Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. Steiner Homes, love where you live. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy, warm, and humid with a chance of a thunderstorm that could bring hail and damaging winds. The low temperature will be 70. On Tuesday, expect warm conditions in the morning with cloudy skies and breezy conditions later on. There will be a few showers and a chance of a thunderstorm, which could bring localized damaging wind gusts. The high temperature will reach 79. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
Perhaps you're a collector, or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Shaun Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions. With their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions, they have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
Hey, y'all. It's the Rocket Roger Clemens here. Spent a lot of time pitching heat. Years later, the pain in my joints remind me of those days, but I'm not looking to sit still, and I definitely am not interested in going under the knife. That's why I chose QC Kinetics.
Not just for elite retired athletes. QC Kinetics gives everyday folks joint pain relief using regenerative treatments that work with your body to help repair joint damage.
No surgery, no long recovery, whether it's your knees, hips, shoulders, or back. My friends at QC Kinetics will help you get moving again so you can get back to doing the things you love.
QC Kinetics medical professionals will look at your x-rays or MRI to determine if you're a good candidate.
I trusted QC Kinetics to help me feel like myself again, and I'm proud to recommend them to you.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. 312-827-6261.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Old phonographs or music boxes? We are the experts. Consign yours. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Bum, 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 Iran. Bum, 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 Iran.
Stop monkeying around! They're soft! Sweep the leg!
He had a choice. Let these lunatics have a nuclear weapon. If you want to do that, then you're a stupid person, and you happen to be. I mean, I know you very well. Anybody that wants them to have a nuclear weapon is a stupid person.
Now, for me, it's something to watch because I remember watching the clips back when I was learning how to think and read in grade school about what had been happening with the only country in the Middle East where you could be an atheist. The only one where you could be a Christian or a Jew and not pay special taxes. And Golda Meir was somebody who we used to watch and read. She was a brilliant, brilliant woman. Now, she might have looked like Ernest Borgnine. However, she was absolutely brilliant, Golda Meir. And I'm going to revisit the 70s and exactly what we've been facing with these Islamo-Nazis. Now, back then, Iran had not been a theocracy, but they had the same nonsense with their neighbor, Gaza, which, by the way, you still couldn't find a title company or a stock exchange in Gaza back then. And it's the same thing over and over and over again because it's really a cult. No matter where it exists. It can even exist here, and it's still the same cult.
Prime Minister, is it your intention to bomb civilians when you have raids on the outskirts and suburbs of Cairo?
Oh, and by the way, this is the same thing. See, back then, they did the same thing they do now. They put the military and their weapons and their military headquarters in schools and church. Same bulldog, which is why, why should you expect anything different? They got the same costumes on.
A country in the world that was at war that can really say never, never, never have they, against their desire and against their intention, hit somebody or hit something that has resulted in a tragedy?
But isn't your present policy of bombing on the outskirts of Cairo likely to lead to other such mistakes or tragedies? I mean, for instance, it only needs one of your planes to be shot down and plough through a school or a hospital. These things must be reckoned for.
Yes, but we didn't put military installations next to Cairo. We didn't plan it that way. How many instances do people know in the world where two parties that are at war, that one should warn another party, look, there's a bomb there, take care of it?
You know what else is interesting? We just talked to a historian, and we talked about America. How many people know about Sherman, right? Sherman, he's got all kinds of roads named after him, big general. Took 60,000 troops, burned, murdered women and children in the Civil War. General Grant became president, gave an order to rape the Confederacy out of the women of the South. All of a sudden, you're appalled. What's going on in the Middle East? Do you know nothing about what we've been facing in the real world? How many fracking moron Biden, Harris voters are out there?
There is an Arab people that has 20 independent countries with thousands and thousands and thousands of square kilometers, and we have about 1% of that entire territory. If Hussein hadn't gone to war in 67, when he shouldn't have, when Eshkol asked him not to go to war, the West Bank would have been in his hands. If Assad hadn't gone to war, the Golan Heights would have been in Syria. If Nasser hadn't gone to war in 67, the Sinai Desert and the Gaza Strip were in his hands. Where were the Palestinians then? And why do good people tell us, if you had only gone back to the 67 borders after the war? Then I always ask a foolish question, but I haven't heard one single wise answer. If the 67 borders are so holy, why was there a war in 67?
Because they hate you. It's that simple. Brilliant woman. Absolutely, totally brilliant. And it's interesting because it's going on here now. Same bulldog. And it's the same answer to Mrs. Golda Meir. Because they hate you and they hate us. Jews and Christians, they hate.
This was a remarkable effort by our FBI, Director Patel leadership, and our international partners. And we were able to intercept and get in the middle of this man's attempts to wreak havoc and terrorize not only the United States, Canada, Europe. And so we were able to introduce an undercover, working with our law enforcement partners. So I think what our U.S. attorney just said is dead on, that President Trump's leadership around the world allows us to have the credibility and the partnerships to allow us to work with folks overseas. And that's what happened here. So he was brought here and appeared in court earlier today. And it is on the one hand, should be very alarming to the people in this country that there are men around the world trying to exact this sort of terror. On the other hand, it shows the success of good law enforcement work and good police work and work.
Thank God Biden and the traitors aren't in power anymore, saved from another Islamo-Nazi. And here's the good news. Since Golda Meir points out, 1967, go all the way back to the forming. Every time the Islamo-Nazis try to fight somebody who isn't their wife, they get their ass kicked. So as for you, Iran, get ready.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Honey, I can't deal with this kitchen anymore. It's cramped and everything is outdated.
I know, but it makes no sense to move. I could call my contractor buddy Chad.
Babe, you've seen Chad's house, right?
Yeah, good point.
Plus, he showed up late for his own wedding. Let's get someone who's reliable.
How about Forever Remodeling? They have a team of interior designers, master installers, and project managers all under one roof.
Their reviews on Google look amazing, and homeowners post a ton of pictures of their work.
It looks like they even offer 3D rendering of their projects.
Just like my TV design shows.
Exactly.
Plus, AM 560 listeners get a free in-home design consultation.
From kitchens to bathrooms, basements to whole homes, the design build team at Forever Remodeling takes the stress out of remodeling. They're done on time and guaranteed to match your vision. Visit them online at foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com. Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling.
Now that spring is here, it's time for some spring home maintenance. Hot water issues? Call CenterGuard Plumbing. Right now, get a new 40-gallon atmospheric vent water heater installed for just $1,295 standard installation, or a 50-gallon for $1,395 standard installation with free haul away of your old tank. A proud sponsor of AM 560, you'll save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on tankless and atmospheric vent water heaters with CenterGuard Plumbing. Plus, get 10% off any licensed plumbing contractor competitor's price. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive spring special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit centerguardplumbing.com.
When you build a home for the next chapter of your life, you're not just choosing floor plans, finishes, and paint colors. You're making a decision about where your life continues after all the years you've worked so hard. At Steiner Homes, we understand that because we're a family business that's been building custom homes in Northwest Indiana for over 30 years. And for us, this isn't just a business, it's a calling. Every Steiner home is built with intention. No shortcuts, no compromises. Just craftsmanship you can see and quality you can feel. There's a reason more empty nesters are choosing Indiana. Lower taxes mean your money goes further. Safer communities mean real peace of mind. It's a place where neighbors still wave, families flourish, and you can finally put down roots that feel right. From the very first sketch to the final walkthrough, we treat every home like it's our own family moving in. If you're ready to build a home and right-size your life in a smarter, safer place, start with people who truly care. Steiner Homes of Northwest Indiana. Love where you live. Learn more at steinerhomesltd.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
There's this video that's been going viral. I saw it last night. I think many of us seen it, of a young man who was testifying against redistricting out in the South. And he said something very true, that MAGA is the last dying breath of the Confederacy. and it could not be more true. But in response to a Confederacy, we have this moment here of liberation, abolition, and revival of the values that make this country actually great, actually aspirational, and actually audacious as an example for the world. It's in places like Philadelphia. And we have every freedom that we have today because somebody in each generation refused to accept the world as it was. Somebody kept going when
put some mustard on it. Put some stank on it. Philadelphia sucks.
NBC 10's Kelsey Kushner is joining us live with new details just revealed by the FBI and city officials. Kelsey?
Well, the FBI is calling this indictment historic, saying it is the largest drug takedown in the Eastern District. They said today.
Now, see, Philadelphia didn't always suck, just like Chicago didn't always suck. Just like New York didn't always suck. What makes it suck? Democrat thieves normalize low living, incentivize low living, finance low living. And when it comes to Confederacy that she speaks of, stupid, it was then what it is now. Democrat cohorts, slave owners, who wanted to negate federal law and implement their own, like your sanctuary cities. See, that's what it is. You're the Confederacy. Again, stupid.
It is time for the North to pull up to the South. It is time.
Now, I don't speak New York barroom nonsense. What the hell does that mean? For the North to pull up to the South? Are you threatening? Are you threatening people?
For New York to pull up to Alabama. It is time for all of us to come to Georgia, to Louisiana, to Tennessee, to Mississippi, and let them know exactly what they have uncorked with this injustice.
Vote for them. They'll get-ify your area, too. If you're not happy with how low-living you are now, vote Democrat. I dare you. Greg and LaGrange.
Hey, Shaun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you're going to have to repeat what you said. I'm well aware of the campaign that Grant, Sherman, and Sheridan conducted against the South in the Shenandoah Valley all the way through Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
But did you say that there was an open order for men, Union soldiers, to take liberties with Southern women?
Rape the Confederacy out of the women.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
That
When
means
you say
he told the Union soldiers to rape the Confederate women. What? Do you not get that? Do you? I mean, with a violent.
No, Shaun.
Yeah.
Shaun, I get that, and I also get that they went around there and they put Sherman bow ties around ripping up rail yards and stuff. But I never heard that before.
Yeah.
I never heard that there was an active order to violate women.
Union military courts were not what they are. They didn't exist. And when you look at what the Union did to the Confederacy, and when you look at the plan, I mean, just look at Sherman's March, Mo. They burned the houses, killed the women and the kids. They were losing, so they said, what will distract them? And they were right, by the way. They were right. What will distract them is we start killing their family back home. Look at the Sherman March to the sea. I mean, what, man's ability to harm man. What do you think? It's only it only is offshore. It's onshore too.
No. I get that, but I mean, if John DiLorenzo wrote this stuff,
yeah, John DiLorenzo wrote it. I mean, I can't remember if it's what book it's in, but I'll find it. We'll get it to you tomorrow. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. See, Squirrel, we answer all problems. Is that the show's over? Damn it! All right. See you tomorrow. Gobert's Farm, Pingree Grove. Be there, be square. Tickets at the door. See ya.
At Signature